Hey, what's up, players? WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long. I just want to endorse some of my brothers that are doing an outstanding job of podcast. I'm talking about the first Black Champ podcast, one of the greatest podcasts of all time, and it's growing and growing each and every day. Talking about my man, J.R. Bang and Champ from the Port. Players, you better take a listen to them, and if you don't, I'll have J.R. Bang and Champ put them in a tag team match, and it's going to be a lot of trouble.
Oh, yes, here it is. Here it is. We've been talking all week. Y'all been talking all week. You've been talking mad reckless. You've been talking super crazy. Russ, good morning. Good morning, everybody out there in IWC land and everywhere in between. Man, I'm looking forward to this because life, legacy, branding, and marketing, right? All of it, all of it is at the forefront of what we'll be talking about today. You see the shirt. Maybe I'm trolling. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, though, we are here to talk about in a real way, in an unconventional way, one of the brightest stars the wrestling business has ever seen, who may also consequently be one of the worst known humans in real life. However, that won't stop the wrestling conversation. So if you are here, you are in the right place. Let's get ready. Let's get in tune. It is time for the first Black Champ podcast. And I am, even without the belt, your podcast intercontinental champion, Champ from the Port, brother.
And I am J.R. Bang. Make sure you rate, like, subscribe, download First Black Champ on all of your favorite platforms. You can follow us on everything, the FBC POD. You also rate, like, subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You go ahead and connect with us on Barbershop Network. Shouts out to Scott and the gang. Before we get started, so we don't necessarily put the number of episodes because we've been doing this for about 8 years.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So next year we will, for the first time, have a number on the amount of episodes we've done.
I dig it.
Be an estimated number.
For sure.
Be an estimated number because there's been times we didn't do this podcast because of health, life, traveling. So there's a couple of episodes we missed. But there's more than 400 episodes of this podcast, according to the calculations.
Okay. Because I was going to say, we shouldn't be any lower than like the 330s.
Oh, yeah, nah. So I'm going to put actual numbers, estimated number by shit, just so y'all can know how long we've been doing this. Look, man, we have been talking about this subject. We actually talked about it on the day that it happened.
Yeah.
The day that it happened, I was in Atlanta and you were at the crib and it's like your emergency podcast. So I stopped drinking the Mexican mules that I was drinking to have this before I suck at Topgolf pause. But for those who have been under a rock, Terry Bollea, better known to the world as Hulk Hogan, passed away at the age of 71 due to cardiac arrest.
Yes.
Again, he was 71 years old. We're going to talk about the wrestling. So for those who might pop in to this podcast episode late, we did talk about this briefly, about 30 minutes on the day that it happened. But we're going to start off with the wrestling. We're going to talk wrestling first. And then we're going to get into the things that we see later in life that really, even if you're not a Hulkamaniac, you were never a Hulk Hogan fan as a black man, or somebody that celebrates all nations, people, and colors. Some of the things that we end up hearing later in his career and his life, um, I believe, shocked a number of people. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want nobody to come into this podcast late and think we're not getting into that.
Right.
We're gonna start off with the wrestling, and I start off with how do you how do you meet Hulk Hogan for the first time? Like, let's picture what 4 or 5 year old Cam. How do you
Yeah.
learn about Hogan?
So I learned about Hulk Hogan on the east side of Freeport, Illinois, at a brother by the name of Kenny Lewis. Shout out to Kenny Lewis. I think he live in Washington State now, like Seattle now. But I am over his house, and he watches wrestling. I think it was Saturday morning, and we just up. And for anybody that may be I don't know, I don't even know if I should share all this, but Kenny was dating my mom, and me and his twin daughters and his older son Marquise, we all kind of kicked it. And but he was a big wrestling fan, and that's how I learned about Madison Square Garden. And he told me about Bruno Sammartino, but he was like, but Hulk Hogan, like, this is the guy that's kind of like running it now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't remember. I'm not even gonna count like I remember the first match. I just like remember like just early promos and him being obviously a part of every entrance. But you know, I'm East Side, so I'm saying it's probably like 86, 87, if you will. So I'm 5 or 6 years old, and I see him and the replay of him versus the Iron Sheik. And then I see him now against the Heenan family. Like, I just see that dynamic. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, this is pretty cool. The red and the yellow, he ripping off the shirt and he going crazy. So like immediately I identify with that for some reason. And I start trying to rip my shirt off. But then when I saw the Macho Man, I was making tie-dye shirts, but then trying to rip them like Hulk Hogan. So that's kind of my origin story. I'll be honest, I cannot tie it to an actual match. I cannot. I just remember a lot of promos, the music video. Matter of fact, I have a more recollection of Pile Driver, the VHS first. and Hogan be on the cover with the hard hat, and then seeing all those videos. That's my first real memory. And then I watched WrestleMania 4. Like those are the first two memories that I retain. Watching the Pile Driver of VHS and watching WrestleMania 4. And although Hulk Hogan is not the star, if you will, of WrestleMania 4, he is the attraction, and the Macho Man is the star. So that is where they become my first two memories.
Yeah, my first memory of Hogan is not necessarily a match. In fact, it's my parents. You hear the name before you even see a match.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about wrestling before you like really get in tune with it. And while WrestleMania 4 is not the first time I watched wrestling, it's what made me a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
So anything before that is, while it's a blur, it's more of when I started to watch wrestling, my parents know who Hulk Hogan is. And then I would go over my cousin Marky house, and he has the WWF magazines.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at Hulk Hogan on the cover and everything, and this is what 1988 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's between WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 4, which is why when anybody asks me who I'm a fan of, I'm a Macho Man guy. Mm-hmm. Because Macho Man is the first person I see win the WWF championship.
Yes.
And
Facts.
It sticks with me. It also, I guess you could call me a day one Hogan hater.
Yeah.
If you look at the trajectory, I am a day one Hulk Hogan hater. I am not a Hulk Hogan fan because my favorite wrestler is now basically teaming with this dude who trying to take his wife and want to take his title. So my first real recollections of Hulk Hogan really is Saturday night's main event, the main event, excuse me, the Twin Towers versus the Mega Powers.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Elizabeth getting knocked out and Hogan taking her to the back. I'm watching TV like, why is he taking her to the back? Macho Man's getting his ass beat by these two big ass dudes. And then Macho slap him. I'm in the crib like, yeah, slap this dude. And then they're in the back. And the jealous eyes and all of that stuff. Like, that's my real true first recollection of Hulk Hogan. It's him on bullshit with my favorite wrestler. And when I hear of, because I didn't see it, when I hear of WrestleMania 5 and Hogan beating Macho, I'm pissed. I am fuck Hulk Hogan to the death. So classify me as day one of wrestling, being a day one Hulk Hogan hater because of everything that happened with Macho Man.
Yeah.
So
and I was absolutely on the other side of the fence.
Right. So when you hear some of the things in this podcast, also don't take it away don't take away anything of oh, you've always hated Hulk Hogan. Yes, but I hated Hulk Hogan, the character.
Right.
I didn't know who Terry Bollea was until later in life.
Yeah, for sure.
So, real quick, let's get into this. Hulk Hogan was born, or Terry Bollea was born in Augusta, Georgia, on August 13th. So, yeah, you're kind of right, Donnie. The 2025. And what's funny again, as I told Camp, I made a video of my thoughts on Hulk Hogan versus Terry Bollea 10 years ago to this day. So we'll get into that though. But Hulk Hogan was born in Augusta, Georgia, on August 11th, 1953. When he was a boy, they moved to Florida. He pitched in Little League Baseball. He attended Robinson High School and began watching professional wrestling at 16 years old. While he was in high school, he loved Dusty Rhodes. Let me pause by saying this. Dusty Rhodes seems to me, anytime I hear an older wrestler say that this wrestler got me into wrestling, Dusty Rhodes' name appears a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Especially
Because you know, and obviously as a kid growing up, obviously because for the first time of the first ways I see Dusty Rhodes, I don't see that, but literally decades, when you go 20 years or more older than us, everybody leans on Bruno Sammartino and Dusty Rhodes, but that Dusty is heavy. That Dusty vote is heavy though.
So now let's get into, he starts watching professional wrestling. Oh, you got me? Oh, we start professional wrestling. He also starts to look up the superstar Billy Graham as well, who would be an integral part in not only his development and character building, but also when it comes to some controversies as well. Hulk Hogan also was a musician. He played the guitar. He had a little rock band, and he would work out. And many of the wrestlers that would see him working out was like, yo, maybe you should try this. Among those were one guy that you saw last night, or at least Friday night on SmackDown. The Briscoe brothers, Jack and Gerald Briscoe, was some of the people that saw it. So the Briscoe brothers hit up Hiro Matsuda. If you guys don't know who Hiro Matsuda is, just depending on how far you get into wrestling, just look at Ric Flair in '89. Let's just look at like Ric Flair like '89, '90ish. where he managed him well. Hiro Matsuda was not only a legendary wrestler, but he was a legendary trainer as well. I believe that he also trained Lex Luger, Ron Simmons, among other people. So they hit up Hiro Matsuda and was like, yo, it's this big ass white dude. He got the look. Might want to train him. Hiro Matsuda trained, well, at least in the tryout. Um, they didn't think he was it. Also add Eddie Mike Graham, who was like, "Yo, I don't want to do that." Yeah, they didn't really get along, but they accepted the request, and in the first session, Hiro Matsuda broke Hulk Hogan's leg, and after 10 weeks of rehab, Hulk Hogan was like, "Yo, I'm back," and he tried to break his leg again, and Hulk Hogan blocked it. The rest is history. So in '77, after training him, he starts to get into wrestling. They book him against another guy who was there. In his professional wrestling debut, he wrestles B. Brian Blair. For us old heads, we know him as one of the Killer Bees. But he wrestles him in his first match. Um, and then also he would put on a mask and be called the Super Destroy. Um, After stopping to work with Matsuda, um, he took a hiatus in wrestling and was managing clubs. And then they started to open a gym. But then he gets back, he hooks up with his homie, Ed Leslie, known as Brutus Barber Beefcake. They started managing this club, but then also he got him back into wrestling because you see these two white dudes, excuse me, they look kind of alike. They got good physiques and everything. And they go ahead and they become a tag team. Hogan hits up superstar Billy Graham, help him find a job. And they agree. So he starts working in Alabama. So then in Alabama, him and then Ed Leslie are known as Terry and Ed Boulder. So they're the Boulder brothers, and they start wrestling all over the South, including Memphis, and everything.
How do you make
And
white
then
names
he
whiter? That's
goes on a
crazy.
talk show. So when we start looking at the name, hey, look, hey, the fact that these dudes was named the Boulder Brothers, though, I'm gonna leave those statements. It sound like
Yeah,
some junkyard dog type of shit. Like
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
Joe Blow, the Lover Man. Y'all should be paying us. Um, he's on the talk show in Memphis next to Lou Ferrigno, and he dwarfs him. And Jeff Jarrett's dad, is like, yo, this might work as something. So he would start wrestling as Terry the Hulk Boulder, and sometimes he would wrestle as Sterling Golden, which definitely sounds like a porn name.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I
In 19,
would if I
go
was
ahead.
18 and had no conscience, or if I was on OnlyFans, that would definitely be my joint. Now
Yeah,
that I know that.
yeah, he definitely. In December, he won his first professional wrestling championship, the NWA Southeast Heavyweight Championship, Northern Division. That's in Alabama and Tennessee when he defeated Bob Root. He dropped it to Bob Armstrong, and he wrestled briefly in Georgia Championship Wrestling, as well as Golden, excuse me. In 1979, Terry Funk introduced Hogan, or Boulder at the time, to Vince McMahon's father, Vincent J. McMahon, and he was impressed with him. He wanted to give him an Irish name, so he gave him Hogan, and he wanted to dye his hair red. And by that time, he said his hair was kind of like starting to fall out, and he was like, "Nah, we ain't dyed. I'll just be a blonde Irish." So he wrestled his first match in the WWE under the name Hulk Hogan, defeating Harry Valdez. In the November episode of Championship Wrestling, he made his first appearance in Madison Square Garden, defeating another young legend in the name of Ted DiBiase in a bear hug. After the
Mm.
match, reportedly Hogan thanked DiBiase for putting him over, told him he owed him one. a favor that he did eventually repay to the $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
Hogan gave former tag team champion Tony Altamare as a chaperone and a guide to help him guide him through wrestling. Hulk Hogan would also wrestle in matches with Bob Backlund, and he had a huge feud. This was before 87, y'all. He already had a feud with Andre the Giant, which culminated in the showdown at Shea Stadium in 1980. He was a heel during his first run. His manager was Classy Freddie Blassie. For those who know your wrestling, you know who that is.
You
So
pencil neck geeks.
So the first run of Hogan in the WWF is all heel based. He's out there with the cape on. He's running around with Classy Freddie Blassie. But here's the question that I'll go to. I've said on this podcast before that I've said on this before that Vince McMahon will make you forget that certain characters exist. How, when you found out that Hulk Hogan used to be a mean bad guy, and in fact, Andre the Giant used to be the good guy, like, what are your first thoughts when you see, as you get older, you see heel Hulk Hogan?
Yeah. Hey, I was just like, oh, so remember, because I'm older and Rocky 3 is my favorite movie. And I say, oh, this is where the Thunder Lips character is really from. So look, I can't cap. Even for me, I like it. Because again, Rocky 3 is my favorite movie. Even to this day, Rocky 3 is my favorite movie. And my favorite scene, well, one of my favorite scenes is the opening scenes and the charity boxer versus wrestler event. So again, me just being, I guess, a fan of just that dynamic. However, I'm thinking, and maybe this is just me being a dumbass kid, I'm thinking that Hulk Hogan is acting as the bad guy in the movie. so Vince McMahon has totally screwed me up regardless, because I don't even, there is no Terry Bollea to me. Hulk Hogan is a real person. And Hulk Hogan is such a real person that he is now getting into acting. And his first acting gig is Thunder Lips, the Ultimate Male in Rocky 3. But when you go back and see it, and I was like, so that's how so basically building up both ends of his career at the same time. He knows he's one of the biggest stars in the world. But if you go back, it's like, so this is how foreseeable or how just tangible this character is and how real it was. And this is how he thought he was going to originally get over, I'm assuming. So that's the only like real time for me. So it wasn't really the biggest blow to my mind at the time, because I was still like, maybe 15, 16 when I learned that information.
Yeah, so here's a bit of information when I start going down the Hulk Hogan rabbit hole when I'm younger, not now, but when I'm younger. All right, so back in the early 80s, Hulk Hogan would go to wrestle at New Japan Pro Wrestling. He called himself the Ichiban, number one. And he would wrestle a number of people like Tatsumi Fujinami, Abdullah the Butcher, Andre the Giant, Antonio Inoki, Stan Hansen, a number of people. But Hulk Hogan in Japan is totally different than Hulk Hogan in America. Hulk Hogan is wrestling more of a strong style type of style than he is, and as we know him, when we know him, it's like the 4 or 5 matches of doom. Hulk Hogan on June 2nd, 1983, became the first International Wrestling Grand Prix IWGP tournament winner, and the first holder of the early version of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He didn't do the leg drop. He did and there you go, Russ. He did a sort of a crooked arm lariat known as the Axe Bomber as his finisher. Um, He would also work a number of matches with Antonio Inoki in Madison Square Garden, with and against in Madison Square Garden. He eventually loses the belt and everything. And then, but he's also wrestling with WWE at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where things start to change. Hulk Hogan is a worker's worker. He's a wrestler that's going over the world wrestling. But then the offer for Rocky 3 comes. And Vincent J. McMahon is like, no, you ain't doing that. We don't want our wrestlers to be involved in some of these things. We want to keep the illusion alive.
Mm-hmm.
So Hogan had gotten an ultimatum. Take the role, you don't wrestle. You might not wrestle again.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan said, fuck it. I'm going to be in this movie. And he appears as Thunder Lips. Now, Rocky 3 comes out in 1982. I'm only a handful of months old, I think, when Rocky 3 comes out. So I don't know anything, but when I see Rocky 3 for the first time when I am younger, I'm like, damn, that's Hulk Hogan is Thunder Lips. So that's when you have your story about, that's my introduction, like, damn, Hulk Hogan was Thunder Lips. Like, yo, what the hell going on? He wrestling Rocky. Like, what's going on? Now, transition that now to AWA.
Mm-hmm.
In what I would say is some of the biggest drop balls in wrestling history. Pause. So Hulk Hogan ends up signing with the AWA, owned by Vern Gagne, in August of '81. He starts as a heel because that's what he was on TV before, being managed by Johnny Valiant. But then everybody started to love Hogan. It's like, yo, that's Thunder Lips, G. Like, what are we talking about here? I'm not booing him. So not only does he become a face, Hulkamania is kind of born, so to speak, in AWA. And he's going up against the Heenan family and Nick Bockwinkel. And Nick Bockwinkel is somebody that you've talked glowingly on this podcast before.
Yeah.
So you see all of this in March '82. He defeated him in a non-title match, Bockwinkel, in Chicago, nonetheless. And he repeatedly challenged Nick Bockwinkel for the AWA championship. But the matches always ended weird. A disqualification, a count out, all of these things. But he could never get the title. But if you go look at any of those matches, especially the Chicago match and the International Amphitheater, when Hulk Hogan thought he won the match, he thought he was champion, but the ref was like, no, and everything. It seems like Hulk Hogan does not get the belt because of, I won't necessarily say old school tactics. I will say that it's better to chase the heel than the heel chasing the face. But he never gets the title. Vern Gagne does not put him over. And Hulk Hogan says, yo, it's time for me to dip. But he did it by quitting in a letter and not showing up. And Vern Gagne like, yo, what the fuck going on? So talk to me about when you find out about Hulk Hogan's AWA days, and even with some of the stuff that Jonathan Hood, our OG, would tell us about some of the things that were rumored to have happened, such as Vern Gagne offering the Iron Sheik some bread to break Hulk Hogan's leg.
Well, I equate all of that into Vern's hate for Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So for me now, granted, when I learned this, because obviously once we hit our teenage years, I'm just enthralled in what's happening, like many other teenagers. I don't learn about all this stuff until like mid-20s. So, and this is me wanting to know more of the detail and the information about just the wrestling business and trying to learn how does it really work and why do things happen like this? Because by now, I've seen the Montreal Screwdrive. I've seen Shawn Michaels leave. We've seen the Ultimate Warrior story and all this. So I was like, yo, it'd be a lot of stuff happening in wrestling. So let me go back. So now hearing all this information about Hulk Hogan, I was like, oh, well, the first thing that came to my mind, in all honesty, was, so man, Hulk Hogan was going to be the man no matter what. Was he ever going to be was it ever maybe foreseen as this big global superstar? Maybe not. Maybe not. But but when I hear all of this and I see all of this, it's like, oh, so really Hulk Hogan was going to be him regardless. It was just about what promoter, what organization, what region was going to bet the house on him and how they were going to bet the house on him. So, and I'm sure because there's too many stories that have taken place saying something very similar. I believe Vince McMahon showed up in front of Hulk Hogan and was like, look, this is the plan. This is how we're going to run this. And respectfully, Vern Gagne don't know what to do with you. So come to death row. We going to get this cracking. Titan Sports about to take off. I see Hulkamania running wild. See Hulkamania running wild for you, sir. You just gotta sign the contract. And I believe that is what happened. I believe that's why Vern Gagne is no short on his absolute hate for Vince McMahon. And for me, it's just now wrestling receipts and wrestling politics taking place. Oh, somebody broke his leg before. Hey, I bet you he couldn't take that leg break now in his late 20s, early 30s. I bet he couldn't take it now. We should try to get him the fuck out of here because, one, we're going to lose a lot of money. And then, obviously, Vince's money is longer than mine. So now here we go with the wrestling, with the dark side of wrestling politics, if you will. And it is interesting, but I think it speaks to really how hot of a commodity he was when he technically hadn't even really gotten started yet.
Yeah, first Black Champ talking about the legacy of Hulk Hogan, kicking it off for wrestling right now. Make sure you follow us on everything at FBC POD. Yeah, the whole AWA thing, I was just like, when I learned about it, I'm like, whoa, everybody's in the AWA. Yeah. And let me first say, like, everybody outside of like Macho Man and Sting and Ultimate, like mostly everybody else, or let me just say this, and man, I wish Hood was available, but because it's one question that I think is I would love to be asked by somebody. I don't know if it's ever been asked. I don't know where to find it. But first, like I realized when you see the Heenan family and Mean Gene Oakland and Hogan and Andre and all of these people, goddamn, the AWA should have been the WWE.
Well, yeah, but see, so like I'm glad you say that because yes, you're right, but this is why we can't ultimately just shit on Vince McMahon and get him out of here because it takes vision to see that, though. You dig? Like there's this purist state of mind. Matter of fact, look, this is Vern Gagne versus Vince McMahon is Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. It's literally, or Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. It's literally the difference. Hey, do you see this as just good, pure, classic wrestling where, hey, we're in our bubble and we live our own world and we are making great things happen? Or do you see this as this phenomenon that can stretch across the entire world, and no matter where you're from, what you went to, what you look like, there can be a story that applies to your life and it can make you want to watch two people fight it out for you. Like, it's literally the difference in having vision versus having not. This is why even when you learn real stories about these people that are playing these characters and run these organizations, is why I'm also like, but man, being a visionary and having vision and executing vision is very important. There are idea guys, and then there are people that can help execute vision. Some people have no vision. I think Vern Gagne just succumbed to having no vision. He couldn't see in front of himself. It was just like, hey, I like what we got here. This should be sustainable, but in reality, even with all that talent, if you don't have a next level for them to get to, where do they go? Does wrestling even look like it looks today if Vince McMahon doesn't do what he does? The answer is no. And we got the answer because there hasn't been anybody to come behind him. Matter of fact, the only person to compete wouldn't try to compete until the 90s, and that's Eric Bischoff, and he even did it wrong. So vision is so important.
Right.
And unfortunately, I think Vern Gagne, the real loss here for the AWA and the real loss for all that talent is like, bro, when will creative have something greater for me? And he didn't have the answer to that question.
The second question is, and this goes into where things change and like history changes. When Hogan then leaves AWA, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, he has plans to expand, and he needs somebody to lead the charge. So he chooses Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan makes his return to the WWF in 1983, defeating Bill Dixon on an episode of Championship Wrestling. Hulk Hogan, who comes back as a face first. Let me first say he comes back as a face. The last time people see him in the WWE, he's in heel. He's the bad guy. But he comes back as a face, and then the next episode, he saves Bob Backlund. And at the time, Bob Backlund is the champ. And he tells the crowd, or Bob Backlund tells the crowd, like, he's changed his ways. He's a great man. Freddie Blassie's not going to be around. He puts him over.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this is when Bob Backlund loses to the Iron Sheik. So he then goes into a match on January 23rd against the Iron Sheik, the guy who just beat Bob Backlund for the World Heavyweight Championship. He was supposed to be a last-minute replacement. And he escapes the camel clutch and gives him the leg drop and becomes the World Heavyweight Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question will always be, if it wasn't Hulk Hogan, who could have been the person that if Vince McMahon is trying to expand the WWE, who is that person that can be the face of the company during expansion?
Now, is this am I answering in the way that who's the true American that's going to beat the Iranian heel, or is it just like who's just the next person just on the list?
Well, I mean, here's the thing: it didn't necessarily have to go in the way of America versus the world,
right?
Just really looking at the roster and saying, who could have? Is there any? If you look up the 1984 WWE roster, is there anybody on that roster that could have been the Hulk Hogan for the WWE? If Hulk Hogan stays in AWA, wins the championship, he's happy with Vern, he don't come. But Vince say, I need to expand. I don't like one of the rumors is, and thank you, Russ, for throwing that out there, is Jimmy Snuka. But when you're looking at national expansion, and we've said this before, you got to look at the demographic. And even though Jimmy Snuka was lauded, applauded, had the whole thing, with coming off the top rope with the cage and all off of the cage on Don Morocco and all of that, I don't know if that's the guy that you use for expansion.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Roddy Piper, and real quick, just throwing out some names real quick. Roddy Piper just came off of the Starrcade match with Greg the Hammer Valentine, the legendary dog collar match, and he was dealing with vertigo. So he hurt. I'm going to throw out some names on the 1984 roster. I'm not going to go through the whole roster. We'd be all day. We're going to throw out some names that pop out to me.
Okay. Because I definitely have an answer, but go ahead.
So before you give your answer, I'm looking at this roster, and this again, this is 1984 WWE roster. Names that when I look at them, they pop up as somebody that could be up next if Hulk Hogan stays. First name that pops up, because he's blonde. He's over 6 feet, 6'5", 270. From Texas, by way of Florida, Barry Windham.
Now, you know, I'm always high on Barry Windham, but with the mindset is who's going to potentially be a tier of Hulkamania. For me, I don't see Barry Windham as that, and I love Barry Windham, but not for. We're talking about alternate universe Hulkamania, and that's not who I see.
He was a heel. He's an Olympian. Ken Patera.
My style broke mother off in backs like Ken Patera. No, that's not who I have. That's not who I have. And maybe I'm saying no because I got my answer, but also no. I got Barry Windham obviously way higher than Ken Patera for me specifically. No.
I will go now outside of the company because it has also been said that Dusty Rhodes was actually the first choice. Do you believe that 1984 Dusty Rhodes could have led the WWF into the national expansion that they were looking for?
Based on where wrestling was, yes, because Dusty Rhodes was already the American dream. He took a lot of black mannerisms, as they would say, black mannerisms, and he was already over for most of the world anyway, as far as the United States go. So Dusty Rhodes, honestly, to me, it's never a bad pick, but that even wasn't my pick.
Who would be your pick, or would have been your pick outside of Hogan?
So literally, and I'm glad we said this, my pick. And I was going to say this earlier because I knew it was going to show up in the comments. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I think people totally underrate how popular Hacksaw Jim Duggan is from 84 to 89. And because he's carrying a 2x4 and a flag, granted, he may not be the most handsome guy in the world. Obviously, it's crossed eyes and all that shit. But at the end of the day, he is the original MAGA man. Like, he is it. There is nobody that speaks to being more MAGA than Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And that USA chant is, even to this day, people say the USA chant like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Like, there is one way to chant USA, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan created it. I don't know if he get the credit for it, but it's damn sure his. Because whenever you hear USA, 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 I don't remember that happening before Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So you take all that, and then and in his prime, he wasn't in bad shape. He wasn't in bad shape at all.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at Jim Duggan because then that would have been Jim Duggan coming off of Mid-South. Because he was one of those Mid-South acquisitions. I think he made his first appearance in the WWE at WrestleMania 3. And
he won the first Royal Rumble.
But even at that time, like, he looked the part. But even going to 84, like, Jim Duggan is white hot in Mid-South. If you go on the network and you look at, because I have another name. Same vein. I actually have two names. And in the same vein, but if you go and you look at any of the Mid-South wrestling shit on the network or on YouTube, you see Jim Duggan and another name I'm going to name here, they were white hot. And if you would have put the machine behind them, I don't know if it would have been Hogan. but you would have been nice. My other name just so happens to be somebody who was white hot as a heel and white hot as a face in the early 80s and also worked for Vince Sr. in the WWF. Ted DiBiase. You look at you look at Mid-South Wrestling. That man was one of the top faces in wrestling. He was also one of the top heels in wrestling. I wouldn't, like, when you look at what you see, I wouldn't have been mad at any of those two. But then I'm thinking about a younger name, a younger, fresh name, as somebody you can groom and the women love. Like the women, you want the one thing about Hogan in that era is that the men wanted to be like him and the women wanted to fuck him.
Yeah, for sure. His man's found out.
Barry Windham fits that bill.
True.
Barry Windham fits that bill.
Hey, listen. I don't know about the aspect of the Hulkamania branding, but I think making Barry Windham the world champion in any organization in any period of time is never the wrong decision. I want to be so clear on that. like not too many people can carry the Hulkamania marketing and branding, but if you, matter of fact, I guarantee, especially if you're just asking that demo, Bang, and what's the demo? If you ask the
white
demo,
men, ages 18 to 34,
and if you ask them who their champion would look like, most likely they would describe a guy that looks just like Barry Windham. Just like Barry Windham.
My point. In the 80s,
yeah,
Barry Windham is your hero. God damn it. Barry Windham is saving the day. He's your super white man. I would, like, in hindsight, Barry Windham, to me, and he's younger too, is an amazing choice to beat Iron Sheik and win the championship. And again, white men 18 to 34 will love him, and the women will want to have sex with him. But it ends up being Hulk Hogan. And Gorilla Monsoon on the tape says Hulkamania is here. And that's when we get the birth of Hulkamania. Anytime somebody talks about it as January 23rd, 1984, the birth of Hulkamania. And then he immediately is on a trajectory that is second to none. He's telling people to say your prayers, say your prayers, train, eat your vitamins. He's no selling, he's hulking up, all of those things. He's now being put in front of TV screens. You start seeing them on MTV. You see the rock and wrestling things start to happen. Vince McMahon sees the vision to put wrestling in the pop culture with the rock and wrestling connection. And then you get the Rowdy Roddy Piper. And yes, we know that, Ole. It does. You have to do something else, but that's why branding is important. And that's why this part of it is important.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hulk Hogan, Incredible Hulk TV show. Him ripping off the shirt. Him also having the movie role. All of these things are now coming full circle, and you're putting him in creating what is now a heel factory in the WWE, because you're building up bad guys to go up against this man. And the first real bad guy that we see go up against Hulk Hogan is a man that we named Rowdy Roddy Piper. Rowdy Piper comes to the WWE as a manager at first because he's hurt. Still dealing with vertigo and things from the dog collar match. He comes in as a manager and everything, but now he's back. He's buffed up. And now he is Hulk Hogan's first real opponent, along with Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Cowboy Bob Orton. You see things at Water Settle the Score with Cyndi Lauper, then which leads into the WrestleMania card being built, which is a tag team match with one of the famous black men of all time and somebody I share a birthday with, Mr. T, combining Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper, Cowboy Bob Orton in their corner, Jimmy Snuka and Hulk Hogan and Mr. T's corner. So now you have one of the most popular black men in the world, one of the most popular figures on TV at the time, and Hulk Hogan versus these guys over here at the first big wrestling event for WWF. Starrcade is a year prior, so it's not the first mainstream big main event type of events, pay-per-view event in wrestling. But you have one where the world is watching, the WWF. The world is watching.
Yeah, there we go. Getting the little promos out. Yeah.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? So then we go into WrestleMania 2. I don't want to spend a lot of time on WrestleMania 1 because I want to go to WrestleMania 2 because now this is the second one, though. And it's this Hulk Hogan's first title defense at WrestleMania versus King Kong Bundy. And that's really a squash going into WrestleMania 3. Now, you're older than me by a year and some days. Your recollection, and so of course you started watching wrestling earlier than me.
Yeah.
As a kid, what is your recollection of Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant?
I mean, really, just the fact that it was in that time, it's the classic David versus Goliath story, right? But you're talking about somebody that's 6'8" versus somebody 7 foot. But what I remember about that, it being a story of friendship, if you will, and wildly, I interpreted as when some of your friends get different friends, maybe the dynamic would change.
It's the classic after school special.
For sure. Right. So now, but to Russ's point here, so now look, by the time we get to Andre the Giant, listen, man, Alvin the Chipmunk, Michael Jackson, Mr. T. Okay, that is the holy trinity of everything right in the world to me by the time we get to Hogan versus Andre. So when I see Hulk Hogan running with Mr. T, I'm already like, okay, well, no, he got to win. Like, matter of fact, hey, look, I wanted this shirt more, and I thought I could get it in a tank top because Mr. T had it more than it was about Hulk Hogan at the time. That's just the black boy joy in me. Pause. But for me, Hogan versus Andre, for me, it was a little different because obviously, and I've spoken about it on this show, I thought Andre the Giant was the ultra mid pack because I didn't get it. Like with the black singlet, he barely moving around. Now, granted, again, I'm in the 3rd grade, bro. Like, so this don't even, so don't tell me about the 70s. Wouldn't hear. Mom didn't even meet my dad yet. Mom didn't even meet my dad yet. So I can't do anything about Andre with the fro. Never saw him at this point in time. I see the short curls with the singlet, and every subtle move is just supposed to hurt. And Hogan is doing a hell of a job of selling. But for to me, honestly, it was more about the feat itself, which does explain why WrestleMania is put the way it is, because obviously for the younger kids and for the younger demo, that's what this is for. Like, WrestleMania 3 is for me. It's for Bang. It's not for you wrestling aficionados. It's not for you elitist wrestling fans, because the kids are here to see the guy with the red and the yellow that rips his shirt off do something that they never thought could be done before, which was slamming somebody twice his size. And when he does it, it don't even matter that it's for the title. It don't even matter that this counts and is going to it's going to count as a win or a loss record for a guy that went undefeated for like a decade. In my mind, in my child mind, it is literally, oh, wow. Did you see Hulk Hogan? He's so strong. He just body slammed that big fat guy. and he keeps his belt. He's the strongest man in the world. Like he's the greatest. Wow. That is my mindset. Nothing else matters to me. I don't give a fuck about wrestling. I care that I watched that. I got my guy that hangs out with Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, body slammed Andre the Giant, and that's all I care about, and that's all I need to remember per Vince McMahon.
So I feel bad what I'm about to say. That just shows you how I get into wrestling. While I was into wrestling, I didn't give a shit about Hulk Hogan. Let me. I feel bad by saying that I don't watch the Andre the Giant Hulk Hogan match till maybe like 91.
Oh, okay.
Columbia House had a Best of WrestleMania tape. And I watched it for the first time on that cassette. And I was like, damn, that happened? That's how much everything before WrestleMania 4 was a blur to me. Matter of fact, the Columbia House Best of WrestleMania tape really gets me, not only really solidifies me being a wrestling fan, that's what start making me go dig in the crates. That take makes me go, let me see what else happened before WrestleMania 4. Is that Columbia House Best of WrestleMania tape. Because now I get to see, like, now I see Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And I didn't know that match existed. I didn't know Macho Man as a bad guy. I did not know him as that. I did not know him as the Intercontinental Champion. I know him as the world champ. Yeah. So I credit Columbia House Best of WrestleMania cassette tape as what got me to start digging in the crates and learning more about wrestling before WrestleMania 4. With that being said, however, though, when I looked at it, that's when I'm also like, wait a minute, hold on, fam. All his friend wanted was a title shot. And you mean to tell me he couldn't give him a title shot? Getting everybody else one. Why you can't get a homie? So when y'all hear me say Hulk Hogan has been a heel since WrestleMania 3, that is also why. Because when I start digging in the crates, I'm not there in the moment. I am looking in hindsight right off the bat. And in hindsight, I'm like, yo, he came up to you nice and asked for a title shot. And you said, nah.
And see, and me as a kid, I'm like, why does he want to fight his friend for the title he just won?
Right, yeah.
Why you want what he got? Like, why?
Yeah, that's me. Get a homie a title shot. So when y'all hear me say Hulk Hogan's been a heel since, just know it all starts in hindsight. Now, would you say, is that the height of WrestleMania? Like, if you were to say the height of WrestleMania was this date, this time, what is it?
Like, okay, wait. When we're saying height of WrestleMania, are we this is just like strictly Hulk Hogan based, I guess is mine. Cause
like when you look at this, like this is the top. This is the apex of this shit. This moment, this time here. It don't get no better than this.
Oh, well then shout out to Donnie, because yep, that's definitely how I felt. Get your own title, fat boy. Hey, but hey, listen, peak WrestleMania, and this is just me. WrestleMania 6. WrestleMania 6. No way. Hogan. There you go, Russ. Hey, listen. No way. We can't even book that again today. To the point where you have the two biggest faces of the company at the biggest event ever, and the crowd is literally split. Like, even when you fast forward to Shawn Michaels versus Taker 1 at WrestleMania, yeah, we love Shawn Michaels and he missed the WrestleMania and all that, but I was ready for the streak to be maintained. I was like, it would be dope if Shawn Michaels breaks the streak, because maybe then there's a Mr. WrestleMania claim. But then there's this other half of like, but man, I mean, he had 19. like he was at 17 or whatever the number was. I'm like, do we really give that up for this? Like, because what does Shawn Michaels gain from winning it? Now, granted, I felt the same way about Brock Lesnar. So, like, the only person that legit needed to beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania in hindsight is Roman Reigns now. He's the only person that actually needed to do it. I don't think anybody else benefited from it the way they should have. But the apex, the peak, okay, this is what it has to be moving forward, is WrestleMania 6. Because case in point, look at WrestleMania 7. And then 8. And then 9. Look, there's such a skid that happens after WrestleMania 6 that the final decision at WrestleMania 9 is to give the belt to Hogan, and he showed up with a black eye. So how is it not WrestleMania 6? Like, how is it not?
I'm going to say 5.
Hey, and I love 5 too. 5. So I'm not. You're not really wrong to me on that.
Because he had to get it back.
True.
And you want to see like and like now Hulk Hogan's chasing. We ain't seen Hulk Hogan chase. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see him chasing. And it was personal. Oh, it was personal. And I think WrestleMania, actually, I think in hindsight, WrestleMania 6 is the test to see if you still want Hulkamania around.
Yes.
I think that's the test of, man, how long we got left. Let's see what Warrior's gonna do. And then you find out he ain't gonna do shit with it, and you give it to him back. And it's the perfect time because you have the Gulf War going. So now you could get back to your 1984 vibes. But I think that when he had to get it back and the way that he had to get it back, and you was kind of defending somebody from a jerk, I think that is your height. Whereas it got like Andre the Giant got it over, I think it still had legs, but it kind of started to go down after 5 to see what else got. And that's why I put it as that. However, do want to go to WrestleMania 6 because now Hogan has to put over somebody.
Yeah.
And he has to share the spotlight with somebody. So, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I say that's when we start to get to the downward. But then you got 6, Ultimate Warrior, 7, Iraqi War shit. But then you get 8, where it's the last hurrah, so to speak. And then you get WrestleMania 9. So either way it goes, sometime after 6, when he starts wrestling Earthquake and all of them too, we start to see things die down. When do you start to look at Hogan and be like, let's get this old nigga out of here?
Oh, not till WCW. Because for me, yeah, because for me, agreeing with everything that you're saying, my mind framed it like this. And this is in hindsight now. So now, not only can Hogan be the champion and the flag bearer for your company, but he can also be your biggest attraction. See, WrestleMania 1 through 5, he's just your main event guy, even though, because like he just made himself as part of the main event in 4, even though he wasn't the main event. It was about the Macho Man and him running the tournament. But Hogan is there in a fresh red bandana celebrating. And really that's the first seed being planted of, hey, Hulk Hogan is also an attraction. Like Vince McMahon did one of the most ballsy things I think ever in wrestling at that point, because unless somebody wants to point me to a time before my time, I don't remember a guy losing a match and then getting an extra 10 minutes to just pose and celebrate and just get his shit off, for lack of a better word, to the point like it's 2 VHS tapes. Like they could probably fit the rest of they could probably fit WrestleMania on one tape if it wasn't for all the Hulk Hogan footage. That's just footage. It's just B-roll. Hogan is just walking B-roll for a good part of that first part of the tape. But once we get after WrestleMania 6, so okay, boom, title for title, main event, Toronto, Skydome, he loses. Shockwaves, because damn, Hulk Hogan lost. Whoa, we ain't seen that in a minute. But then, and then losing fairly too. We haven't seen that in a minute. So he's, getting carted off on the little ring joint. Ultimate Warrior celebrating. Ultimate Warrior fans are rejoicing. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But from WrestleMania 7, 8, and 9, yes, he's in main event positions, but it's really more about, man, yeah, you're here for WrestleMania, but we're here for Hulk Hogan. Shit, you watch the doc too. That's what the WrestleMania 9 doc is about. Hey, yeah. Tickets was here. Hey, Hulk Hogan coming? Okay, hey, well then, no, I'll throw more money down if Hulk Hogan coming. And then now tickets are here. Wait, hey, is Hogan going to win the belt at my event? Because I'll throw more bread to that. I can sell more of that, and Hogan wins the belt. Like just WrestleMania 9, and sorry Bret Hart, sorry Yokozuna, but that was literally Hulk Hogan is just such an attraction. By the time we get to 7, 8, and 9, it's no way it's get him out of here. For me, when he pulled up at WCW in that convertible and that weak ass music and that Hulkster shirt was created, where I was like, okay, yo, this is the Aldi's version. Like, nigga, this is Mountain Lightning. This is not fucking Sprite at this point. That's how I took that. That's when I was like, okay, maybe this is a wrap, because this is the Sierra Mist of what I'm used to seeing.
So I want to transition into the WCW thing, because as we said, things kind of die down, and the company basically tells you that too. And after the King of the Ring, Hulk Hogan is not to be seen in the WWE again until years later. But now he's in WCW. They do the whole thing, is like Universal Studios or some shit. They do the announcement that they got him on. They got the ticker tape parade. Mean Gene is there to meet him. They got the as you call the Sierra Mist, which I do love Sierra Mist. I don't like this new shit they got.
Yeah, but Starry, yeah. Sierra Mist definitely over Starry. Like, so look, in hindsight, it should have worked, right?
Yeah, it should have worked. Hulk Hogan's first match is against Ric Flair. He defeats Ric Flair at Bash at the Beach for the title. I think it's a cage match and all of that. So they heat check this. Of course, Hulk Hogan comes in. They put the belt on him. And this is also when we see Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair for the first time on a major pay-per-view. They did wrestle a couple of times in the WWF. On house shows, which Vince McMahon was like, I don't know about this match here. But WCW, Eric Bischoff, WCW, and them like, no, we getting this out the way now. But let's go everything before July 6th, 1990, the July 7th, 1996, excuse me. Let's look at everything before July 7th, 1996. Your complete thought on Hulk Hogan in WCW before that day is this shit suck? Or does it grow on you? What are we thinking before the ultimate moment?
So this is a great question. Because for me, I was just like, maybe I'm too old for this. But then again, Hulk Hogan is also showing up to WCW, what, 50 pounds lighter? like instead of 305
He's
or
275.
You know what I'm saying? Right. 275, which, hey, look, he's still a very big human. but that ain't this don't look like Hulkamania to me. So I'm not feeling it at all. And now, as I'm into 13, 14, 15, now granted, I'm starting to like Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect more and Ravishing Rick Rude more. So it really shouldn't even be about that. Like, I like Sting, you know what I'm saying? But it was just the presentation of Hulk Hogan WWF at the time versus now in WCW. And then he running with Jimmy Hart. And I was just like, yeah, this ain't it. This just ain't it. It was, I think it was, in hindsight, the classic case of, hey, you know what? Matter of fact, it's the bottle of water analogy. It's the bottle. Sometimes you put a bottle of water at the gas station and it's $1. If it's in the hotel, it's $5. And and whatever the other shit about the water is. But it's like, the value maybe is where you are and not you yourself. And yeah, everything about it didn't look larger than life anymore. It didn't look like something that I had to believe in. It didn't look like something I had to aspire to be. So for me, the Hulk Hogan, the face red and yellow Hulkster run was terrible. He looked more marginal, beatable, and just, dare I even say, out of touch in that first run before the eventful day in 1996.
If I hated Hulk Hogan in WWE, I hated that motherfucker in WCW. I hated. You want to know the only time I was a Hulk? Like, again, just listen to the whole podcast, everybody. If you jumped in at this time, you'll know that I'm a day one Hulk Hogan hater.
For sure.
When I become a wrestling fan. But the only time that I liked Hulk Hogan was against the Dungeon of Doom, because I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? That's it. Like, this is the only time I'm looking at Hogan like, yo, beat these motherfuckers' asses, fam. Like, what is Kevin Sullivan doing? Why we got Kamala and Loch Ness and the Ultimate Solution? Why did we even name him that? Do y'all know what that is? Like, did you have history? When you name somebody the Ultimate Solution, do you have history class and know what that term means? Like, why do we have the Yeti? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is Jimmy Hart like Sony Shmoney be like the Yeti? Like, why? What are we doing here?
Yeah. Hey.
And when he was going against Vader, you know what? When I think about it, and I was gonna save this question, and I'm still gonna say this question, but to me, Vader was the closest he had to a real, like, scary opponent to me when I look at it in hindsight. And they were stiff with each other, Pauls. They were whooping each other's ass and everything. But yeah, like that Hogan, I hated it. I hated this shit. But then, and quite honestly, as somebody who was always a WCW fan, more than they was a WWF fan, this was disappointing. Like, you can send this ass back to WWF if we doing this shit. Like, why is he crawling into the Dungeon of Doom? There's no Hulkamaniacs here. Like, no, fam, no. Who wrote this shit? Version of Hogan. Because I hated that version of WCW. Why are we doing this? But then July 7th, 1996 happened. Hulk Hogan, Bash at the Beach, Third Man, the formation of the NWO. The next day, that next Monday, when you go to school and you find out that Hulk Hogan is a bad guy, he just leg dropped Sting and Macho Man and Lex Luger, and fans are throwing shit in the crowd, and he's sitting there with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. What are your thoughts the next day, that Monday you go to, well, you ain't in school. You ain't in school. It's July 8th, Monday, 1996, Summer's Day. You just went outside and the homie told you, did you see what happened with Hulk Hogan last night? He a bad guy. First thoughts.
Well, see, nobody ever was that guy for me. I was that guy for them. So, but I was like, wait, what? Hogan is a heel? And then, so what's so interesting about this for me, because obviously we're WWF fans. And I was like, yo, Macho Man was right. The first thing I say is the Macho Man was right. The Macho Man been feeling like this is the 80s. This is crazy. This is crazy. But hey, also, because for me, again, y'all know where we come in on this. 80s, mid to late 80s. I've only known Hogan to be a face. By the time 1996 has gone back, I have not gone back to watch 70s wrestling in the AWA. I do not know nor care at this clip about this. So I am 15 years old, and Hulk Hogan has just turned heel, but now I am back interested in what happens next, because all the players are there. Hulk Hogan, Mean Gene, Macho Man Randy Savage, except now Hogan has turned it up. And now even his voice is sounding like something I need to pay attention to and to believe in. Now, as the people are throwing the stuff in the ring. And to me, though, he kicking facts. So I'm like, hey, listen, heel or not, when he was like, I'm the reason y'all in here. He was like, this company and the wrestling business wouldn't be anything without me. It's like, hey, I don't get what y'all booing for. I don't get it. Hey, and I like Hall and Nash anyway, because that's still Razor Ramon and Diesel to me. So none of that matters. None of that matters. To me, I am looking at this as WWF versus WCW. And because I know that they are not necessarily holding the superstars I grew up with in the WCW, I'm riding with the WWF. It's literally Hulk Hogan, Razor Ramon, and Diesel in my mind versus, it don't matter, Sting, Luger, Ric Flair. It don't matter, because to me, Macho Man need to flip. So look, we had to beat some sense into you, so you know who to rock with, and then it's us four. I thought the Macho Man was going to be the fourth member. So for me, this was great. And now, for the first time in what, 2-3 years, Hogan became somebody I wanted to watch on wrestling again.
I like Hogan. Now I'm cool. Now we good. Because those beginning stages of NWO, especially with Kevin Nash throwing Rey Mysterio on the into the trailer and all of that stuff. Now I'm like, all right, Hogan is the Hogan that I've wanted for years. If we gonna do it like this. I think it breathed new life into Hogan. I also believe that it might have aided into some of the things that we see, that we currently, or we started to see with Hulk Hogan later in life. So we get the NWO, we get versions of the NWO and everything. We get NWO Hollywood, we get NWO Wolfpack. You started seeing things blend, real life things blend into the wrestling. You start seeing things in WCW, the Finger Poke of Doom, the thing with Jeff Jarrett and Vince Russo and all of those things. Then Hulk Hogan disappears and WCW ceases to exist. Then we get a number of WCW people coming into the WWE. And a lot of people, you get the invasion thing and all of that. And a lot of people still to this day said that segment, that storyline doesn't matter. Well, yeah, don't that FUNB. I am going to forget about that Hogan. I'm gonna forget
Yeah,
about the
no.
Hogan when he wasn't even going by Hogan no more. It was coming down the aisle from Vero Beach, Florida, Terry Bollea. I'm gonna forget that was nasty
Yeah.
WCW times. All right.
You want to talk about pointless characters? I don't care how real they were. That was so
Yeah,
pointless.
like
Just go
it
home.
got bad. Like it got bad that he was going by Terry Bollea for like 3 weeks on Nitro, fam. Like, what are we doing?
At that point, just cash him out and send him home, bro. like if you feel like you got to pay him, cash him out and send him home then.
Yeah. But then WCW wrestlers started coming to WWE. You have the invasion angle. And a lot of people say that invasion angle didn't mean anything because you didn't have the Stings, the Goldbergs, the NWO at the time. You didn't have none of the bigger names, the Lex Lugers, none of that. You had Lance Storm. No diss, because this is a Lance Storm podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure.
When he was the Saskatchewan champion, I was with that shit.
Sure.
And you got others and stuff like that. But then when Vince McMahon started teasing the poisoning of the WWE, and the NWO returns with just Hogan, Hall, and Nash, your thoughts on Vince McMahon bringing back the NWO to poison the WWE, which leads to one of the most iconic matches in wrestling history?
As far as the build-up, I hated it. It was garbage to me. Because to me, and this is what Vince McMahon will do on the slide to you. He'll take your shit and ruin it, just so we're clear on who the big dog is. Because because the DX revamp in 06 was better than the NWO coming to the WWE, and it ain't even it's not even a question. That's by far. Triple H and Shawn Michaels getting back together for DX in 06. This is Jesus freak Shawn Michaels and semi-corporate and Nepo husband Triple H were better at DX in 06 than the NWO coming to the WWE. And I say that because the WWE was built on, Jesus, let me get my acronyms and letters straight. The NWO was built on being anti-establishment. It was taking over from the outside. That's why they were the outsiders. Why do you want me to believe that Vince McMahon, the person who literally got on TV and said that I own my competition, I killed WCW, and now it is mine. Why do you want me now, 24 months later, to sit here and believe now you're about to ruin it with the NWO? Like, why? Why do you think I'm that stupid? Me. Do you think I'm that stupid? The person that's been watching since 85. You think I'm that stupid? No, that was terrible. That it was a terrible idea. It was, and I mean, especially again, as you just heard me a few moments ago, we kicked this off. I said, man, once Bash at the Beach happened, that's Hulk Hogan, Razor Ramon, and Diesel in WCW. You want to convince me that this is the NWO for real? Then you need to trot Scott Steiner, Booker T, and Sting out there, or some three of the three of the WCW lifers, and it replays again, or maybe just that pocket again. Because hey, look, I love Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, and Scott Steiner as NWO members. At least give me the B team of those guys and be like, no, we still NWO. Fuck all that dumb shit. Hey, we waited for Hall, Nash, and Hogan to come back to get things together. Then and only then would I have liked the angle better. But the angle of Vince McMahon poisoning the company by using an element that almost took him out, that he was happy to acquire just 2 years later, didn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, I was geeked. Like, I was geeked when the NWO re-debuted, and it was just three of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I ain't like when the NWO became like real life GDs, trying to make everybody flip and stuff. That was not me. But when they came back, and not knowing everything that Scott Hall was going through, not knowing that Kevin Nash's body is breaking down, I had high hopes, and we gonna do this right. But then it did not happen in that way, and then, but really, the crowd turned on The Rock and went back to Hulkamania, and again, one of the greatest. What I won't say it's one of the greatest. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I will say I'm not going to disrespect this match.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I would say that WrestleMania 8 is probably, on paper, the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Oh yeah, on paper,
And you can say that, this match is one of the greatest of all time because of the meaning of it. Mm-hmm. This leads to The Rock versus Hulk Hogan in the place where some will say was the apex of WrestleMania. Toronto at the Skydome, on a card that featured Rob Van Dam and William Regal, Kurt Angle and Kane, Undertaker and Ric Flair, Edge, Booker T, Triple H, Chris Jericho. The main event, and what should have been the main event that night, is The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, and the Rock defeating Hollywood Hulk Hogan. However, the crowd changed, and a little bit after this, Hulk Hogan becomes world champ.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the crazy thing about this. A lot of people don't realize that Triple H won the belt and then dropped it to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, and if my memory serves me correctly, at the next pay-per-view.
Hey, again, and justified, because you know what? Vince McMahon mastered how to use the brand Hulk Hogan. It just,
but not the next one, because The Rock ended up beating him again. Mm-hmm. This is at Backlash, the second after. Mm-hmm. So he lost twice and got the belt.
Hey, because listen, Hulk Hogan, the character Hulk Hogan, is honestly, probably, or maybe undeniably, the greatest main event and attraction in wrestling that we have seen so far. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
And right, and you start seeing him like dabble in other areas, winning other championships. He becomes a tag team champ with Edge around this time, as well. He's infused with Shawn Michaels. he has the match with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania and stuff, but eventually all goes away.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to talk about the TNA days and all of that stuff. We're not going to get into none of those things. We're going to go right dab into. Then later in life, we start to hear things. We start hearing about the union busting stuff, and we start hearing about Hulk Hogan politics behind the curtain and things of that nature. We see him put over people, you know what I'm saying? But then we start to hear who he didn't put over or he refused to put over, all of those things. And then the Gawker thing happened. Then the Bubble of Love Sponge thing happened. Then the tape comes out of Hulk Hogan saying some reprehensible things about his daughter Brooks Hogan's boyfriend, who's African American at the time. Well, at the time of the day, she was dating an African American man. And his Hulk Hogan's feelings, even though they were private and he didn't know he was being recorded. You start to see those things pop up, and it really changes how people look at Hulk Hogan. So 10 years ago, on the day that he passed, 10 years before that, Hulk Hogan is on audio with a racial tirade about how he feels about Hogan, his Brooks boyfriend. Everybody's a little bit racist. The N-word and all of those things. When you hear that quote, I know we've talked about there's probably a lot of white people who has said what Hogan has said on tape or off tape. But removing that, when you hear Hulk Hogan say those words, what are your thoughts?
Okay. The first thing for me, and again, look, I just think differently, y'all. So stone me now.
Matter of fact, wait a minute. Let me repeat what Hogan said. I mean, I'd rather, if she was going to fuck some nigger, I would rather have her marry an 8-foot-tall nigger worth $100 million, like a basketball player. I guess we're all a little racist. Fuck a nigger.
And see, for me, I view that under this lens. And I'm going to go back to what I was going to originally say. So I view a phrasing like that as, damn, that's wild. That's wild. But at the same time, especially when this is come out, this is 2015, I was like, but ain't this what fathers be telling their daughters, be it black or white or Hispanic or whatever, Asian, whatever? Ain't this how Baller Alert was created? Because they're looking for 8-foot-tall niggas with money. Like, ain't this how they created Baller Alert? But then I just rewind and I'll be like, Hogan was so comfortable saying that, and who else was in that room? Because that lady was dying to chime in. We never talk about the other lady who I thought was Linda Hogan. I ain't gonna lie. Because I was like, who is this other woman in this room? And for somebody to be recording, because my thing is also always, yeah, we throwing Hogan under the bus, but he was so comfortable saying that in front of you. So how do you really be talking about black people in general? Because Hogan even went out to say, hey, even I'm racist to a point. And no pushback is given in that room. We never talk about that. We never talk about how he wanted the birds of the feather in there. He's not isolated. He's not being challenged. And that audio was very short. So while Yeah, it ain't cool to say. But obviously, Hogan was getting that kind of rhetoric off in that circle for decades. And whether you want money, you want fame, or you tired of him winning, or whatever it is, and you calling yourself the homie, you supposed to be one of his friends, and you recording that, and now you quiet, now you silent. I ain't gonna lie, I have always wanted to know what Hulk Hogan thinks about that situation. And I wanted him to bury everybody in that room and be like, yeah, we talk about this shit all the time. Like any other time, it's cool. I don't know what happened. Or, hey, look, here's the situation. Dude want this. I said no. Blah, 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 blah. Or he found out this. I hit dude. But there's, for me, for anything malicious to happen to anybody, and this is whether you racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, whatever you are, whatever your phobia or fear or hate train is, whatever it is, for you to be leaked, for you to be captured and exposed, that means you had to be around somebody else that you obviously trusted to be that person with, and they flipped on you. So that's the only reason why. It's not excusing what was said, because it do sound crazy. But however, I've just been around a lot of self-hating black people for a lot of my time. So what he was saying in hindsight didn't strike me as so overtly racist. I hate everybody, because he literally saying, I'm not saying she can't date black people at all, but why do that? And I won't lie, it didn't really hurt my feelings, because it just didn't. I'm sorry. It just didn't hurt my feelings like that.
I would agree with you. Didn't hurt my feelings. And, here's why it didn't hurt my feelings. Because that's Hulk Hogan, that's Terry Bollea.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan is the all-inclusive guy. Terry Bollea is not. A lot of people tend to look at wrestling like the character they play on TV is the person that they're supposed to be in real life.
Right.
It's just not. That's not taken away from how reprehensible those words were.
Yeah.
Because they were.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mad at Hulk Hogan at that point. I was mad at Terry Bollea. Because when the camera shuts off, when the director yells cut, now you're that person. And by that time, Hulk Hogan was not Hulk Hogan. He was Terry Bollea.
Yeah.
When he's in those rooms, he's Terry Bollea. When he's Hulk Hogan, he's Hulk Hogan. And I think that a lot of people, especially when it comes to wrestling, because you identify the wrestler with the person that you think they are in real life. It's closely knit. And now when you look at those words, you say Hulk Hogan said, no, Hulk Hogan told you to train, say your prayers, take your vitamins. Terry Bollea don't like niggas.
Yeah. Hey, and to Russ's point, yeah, after Hogan knows best, I think that's what a lot of this is. That reality TV boom and Hogan knows best and seeing his family, because, hey, listen, again, because I don't be caring. I had no idea Hulk Hogan had a family. I had no idea.
The only reason why I knew it is because they would be at WrestleMania events, and sometimes they'd be on camera, but they won the storyline. See, I think Hulk Hogan hurt people because people look at Terry Bollea as Hulk Hogan. And I'm not, and here's the thing, I'm not mad. Here's the other thing too. I'm not mad at people feeling a way about Hulk Hogan. It just shows me that you've identified that man as one man that whole entire time, and that should never have been the case. But it's the 80s. I understand why, because everything like that was bigger than life. At one point, Hulk Hogan was probably the second most famous person in the world.
Yeah.
And in the 80s, where hero worshiping was probably at an all-time high, when you see Hulk Hogan on the street, that's Hulk Hogan to you. When you see him eating dinner with his family, that's Hulk Hogan to you. Hulk Hogan didn't have to turn around and play the role of something because you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But when the cameras are off and you're not in front of the people and you're in front of your friends and your family and now you can be comfortable, you heard Terry Bollea. So I'm not tripping that people are upset. I'm more or less just saying, like, even now as an adult, you have to understand there's the character and there's the man. And at some point, you have to separate the two because this ain't rap. I don't expect Hulk Hogan to live his raps. And I think that's the issue here. I think people expected Hulk Hogan to live his raps. I think people really thought Hulk Hogan was training, saying his prayers and taking his vitamins before he walked out the house. I think people thought Hulk Hogan was wearing red and yellow throughout his house. I think people thought Hulk Hogan's house was red and yellow. You thought Hulk Hogan was the all-American guy.
Right.
He wasn't. That is not Hogan's fault.
Yeah.
That's yours. And that's why I think people are hurt, because you fell in love with the thought that this guy that you grew up loving was a guy who did everything that he told you to do before he went and wrestled monsters and defeated them. And it turns out that he's not.
Yeah.
But I can't get mad at anybody feeling that way because it feels like your hero let you down.
Yeah.
On the flip side of it, I've always been somebody that's been taught that there's the actor and there's the person or the character that they're playing. And I think a lot of people who love wrestling will find out sooner rather than later that their favorites wasn't shit. Macho Man wasn't said to be the nicest person to women outside of that. The Ultimate, I saw some people say, oh man, I was more of an Ultimate Warrior fan. And you go read those articles and you go look at those tapes about some of the things that the Ultimate Warrior has said about minorities and the LGBTQ community. You go look at those things.
And on top of that, look at what wrestling was saying, wrestlers in wrestling was saying about the Ultimate Warrior before he died.
Right.
Like, boy, listen. Hey, there is a DVD that may not exist no more, but I got it. About
like,
what was it called? The not the Bizarros. I don't know, something. The even the title is unflattering. It's like the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And literally, until he did whatever negotiation he did, the Ultimate Warrior or Warrior wouldn't even allow to step foot in Stamford, Connecticut. That's how bad it was. And the WWE produced a DVD of them defecating all over the Ultimate Warrior and saying how, yeah, this was just some shit for kids, but he wouldn't that dude, he wouldn't this, that, or whatever. But now though, you know, they're trying to turn the page. They're trying to erase the history. They're trying to scrub some things out. Much like you said about the Macho Man. Hey, look, the Andre the Giant supposedly had smoke for the Macho Man. Why? Because he heard he was beating up Miss Elizabeth and he ain't like that shit. Like so, you know, Google Ric Flair, listen to Teddy Long, Google The Undertaker, like Google these people, Google Mark and Richard and Randy and see what you find. Wildly enough,
I can't for some reason I think I'm probably gonna have to refresh my browser. But Albert Henley just said where I was going. Hulk Hogan, here's why I don't get mad. The real reason why I don't get mad at anybody who has a disdain for Hulk Hogan. Because what this shows me is that Hulk Hogan made Terry Bollea a better man than that man probably was in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
He had to do those things and it made him a better person, but it didn't totally turn him around because he's been a piece of shit. We just didn't know it. So when the veil is taken off and you see that the person underneath it is ugly as hell, you get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get mad at people doing that. But I also can't get mad at people that stick with the facade because the facade made them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing. As much as I was not a Hulk Hogan fan growing up, I understand the joy that that man brought the people on every pay-per-view he wrestled on.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the joy that he gave him when he said, say your prayers, take your vitamins and all of that. I understand that because those people are probably only caring about the character and don't give a shit about the man that's playing the character.
Yeah.
I could go watch Lethal Weapon and not feel a way about the character because I love the movie.
Yeah.
But Mel Gibson is a piece of shit. But the other part of it is I'm probably never going to meet Mel Gibson. I'm never going to meet Hulk Hogan. So the only person that I can have any feelings of, the only thing is the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand people really rocking with Hulk Hogan as the character because Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea are two different people. And even Hogan can tell you that because I believe Hulk Hogan made Terry Bollea a better man than anything else could have been because then as he got bigger in life, he aligned himself with people that aligned with his views or they aligned with Hulk Hogan's views because they wanted to be in that aura.
Yep.
And this is not just white people, it is black people and other people that are minorities that say he don't like them, but he likes me.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand the double-edged sword. I understand the catch-22 of how to feel about Hulk Hogan dying because it is complex. Because Hulk Hogan is all-inclusive, but Terry Bollea ain't. And the quicker we realize that there's a difference between the person that you see on TV and the person that is in their homes, the better it will be for you to put these things in proper perspective when they happen. Terry Bollea, piece of shit. Hulk Hogan is an icon who turned a $1 million business into a multi-billion-dollar business. You can talk about if Stone Cold died all you want to. There's no Stone Cold Steve Austin without Hulk Hogan. And the fact that at the beginning of the show, we could throw out names of who could have been that person, but be like,
Yeah. Like there literally is no alternate universe Hulk Hogan that becomes Hulk Hogan. Not even Jesse the Body Ventura. Not even Billy Graham if he can get himself healthy enough. Like nobody is going to do it. I mean, it's that there isn't a tangible. There is an it factor. A lot of that does play into a lot of this. And Albert Bang, look, I agree with both of y'all. And Russ, I agree with you too. Like, the only person that we don't need to separate in my mind is Chris Benoit. Like, that's the only one. That's the only one we can't. That's it. Because granted, and he had a lot of success. He was an amazing wrestler. All of that. But at the end of the day, bro, you could have just killed yourself. And maybe, and like, no, not even no maybe. If you would have just killed yourself, we all look at you way differently. And we are so hurt by you taking yourself away from us. But that ain't the case. So with Hulk Hogan and everything, it's just like we can obviously sit and we can be in this space where we constantly are trying to separate or just bury them all together. But yeah, maybe, just maybe Terry thought he was a POS human being. Hey, and look, not for nothing, there is a history of behind the scenes, whether it's wrestling business or not, that proves that Terry Bollea was not the greatest person. He wasn't. And now we move forward, but he's impacted so many lives. I think Kevin Nash are one of the people that said it best. Kevin Nash said, hey, man, he's a true icon. My career wouldn't be where it is or it landed if it wasn't for him. And he's absolutely right. You know, unfortunately, in life, you're going to do good and you're going to do bad. You have control over both. You have control over how good you will do in this world, and you have control over how bad you will do in this world. And, you know, wildly enough, and this is just a twisted way of life, maybe, just maybe, Vince McMahon was the only person that could help Terry Bollea do some good in the world as Hulk Hogan. Maybe. Because, I mean, in a way, they both wanted to be that guy. Vince McMahon wanted to be Hulk Hogan just as much as Terry Bollea wanted to be Hulk Hogan. Because who doesn't want to be a character, or I'm sorry, a larger than life figure that represents positivity, growth, development, faith? He wore the cross necklace, so he believed in the power greater than himself. He wanted you to train, say your prayers, and take your vitamins. Vince McMahon and Terry Bollea wanted to be Hulk Hogan. That's why the imagery works so well. There is the science of marketing and all of that, but at the same time, you got two people who may not be the greatest humans, period. But they conjured up the idea of what a great human being could be, that happens to be a professional wrestler, and this is the product that we got. You know, hey, there was a point where milk was good for us. There was a time where you could have a cheeseburger, and not only was it 25 cents, but it was also seen as a nutritious meal. Look where we are in 2025, but yet we still out here eating beef, and that's not me absolving both of these humans for being the POSs that they have proven to be just over time. That's just me really separating life and art, and even though it can run parallel and how it can imitate one another, it's just that sometimes we get so wrapped up into the people telling us what to believe in versus what we should actually believe in. I mean,
make no mistake.
Yeah.
And make no mistake, Hulk Hogan's a piece of shit.
For sure.
And here's what I hate about the Hulk Hogan thing. I think somebody don't realize how much they could change the world with the power that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I think about some of the good people in the world that they ever wielded the power that Hulk Hogan had and how much things could have changed. Like, that's what I look at when I look at Hulk Hogan. I don't expect nobody to try to save the world, but you look at people that's chosen and what they do with it, and somebody who has so much of an iconic career later in life, that shit is dead. That's wild to me.
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't give him a pass of what he said, but as you had stated earlier, I think a number of us say some things in the luxury of our own home that would probably be looked at crazy. And the fact that somebody taped it just enough, sent that out just enough to kill this man's career, or tried to kill it, is wild.
Yeah.
However, nobody should be saying, even though it's in luxury your own home, like, sometimes you got to understand who you are, and everybody ain't your friend either.
Facts.
And I think Hulk Hogan quickly found out that, yo, and his friend. But then also outside of that, Hulk Hogan was just a liar.
There's that.
When you start seeing, there's the other thing too. Like,
He's a fucking liar.
Yeah, as a black man, I could be like, oh, he said some racist shit. He was a racist and boom, boom, boom. And this might sound bad, but I wasn't surprised at what Hulk Hogan said like you wasn't, Kent. Because when it comes to interracial relationships, I think that's a conversation that's had.
Bro.
I'm sorry, white people. White people, I'm sorry. But I fully expect, and it might be wrong to say, but I fully expect a father to say what Hulk Hogan said if his daughter brought home a black dude, especially if that black dude ain't affluent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. That's just me.
Hey, listen, black men, everybody, black or brown men, because I don't know everybody's nationality and everybody ain't got pictures up. I don't care what you are. Earn your first $1 million or $2 million and see how many white fathers all of a sudden want to introduce you to their daughters just off the rip. Just hey, have you met Katie? Have you met my daughter Kelly? Have you hey, it's different. It's different. We don't talk about that side of NIL and college sports and man either. Like, it ain't necessarily just black dudes just picking white girls.
Yeah,
it's a strategy.
Like I said, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. This is not, and I'm telling y'all now, this ain't to absolve anything Hulk Hogan said. I'm just telling you, that's what I expected. If he ain't feel like this dude ain't got enough for his daughter, I expect any white man to say what Hulk Hogan has said, and that just shows you how I feel about race relations in this country to this day. Mm-hmm. I was not shocked nor surprised. I didn't gasp because it was Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan couldn't or shouldn't say that because Hulk Hogan is the character that pays me. Terry Bollea is the name on all of the LLCs. I feel as a black man, if I enter into an interracial relationship, the white dad ain't gonna look at me with the best set of eyes when he first sees me.
Yes.
And he probably gonna talk to Ted, his friend, to say, yo, my daughter just brought over this N-word and I would rather him have this. Mm-hmm. That's my expectation. So Hulk Hogan saying what he said, although when you hear it, it's like, damn, it's Hulk Hogan. I'm like, that's Terry Bollea talking. And Terry Bollea don't want his daughter with no broke N-word. Mm-hmm. And he said it and somebody recorded it. Yep. I expect that to be a conversation amongst two white men when their daughter brings home a black man. I'm sorry.
Hey, you're right. And even we, but I especially have two friends that live this. That literally live this. So, and you know what? The thing that's had to happen is I know some of the things being said because we as homies, we talk. And then when I meet these people, boy, is the energy different. To the point where I was like, damn, you sure?
Man. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you sure they don't like you?
Yeah. So,
stay nice to me.
It's a slippery slope when we are trying to condemn somebody for how they want their children to be courted, dated, and be with. Because you literally have to be black to understand. you have to be black and then be around people with interracial dating.
Man, you know what, Kemp? I'm going to say it like this. I can't condemn what the expectation. Or let me rephrase it. When it comes to this Hulk Hogan thing, I can't condemn Hulk Hogan for what I expect. Or I can't condemn Terry Bollea from what I expect Terry Bollea to say in a situation like that. Mm-hmm. That's my expectation. I can't condemn because he lived up to the expectation. I could be surprised and acknowledge that he didn't do it. But if I expect that going in, then I'm not going to be taken back. Flip side of it, though, I would be shocked and surprised if Hulk Hogan said that.
Yeah.
And again, since people connect Hulk Hogan with Terry Bollea, I get it. Totally understand. I just can't condemn what the expectation is because in most of those situations, that's what I expect another father to say to their friend when they're having a conversation about somebody that they brought over that they don't think fit for their daughter, and they just so happen to be black. That's my expectation. Until the world changes, I don't expect, I expect my reaction to be the same. Don't fall in love with the messenger. Don't fall in love with fall in love with the character. Don't fall in love with the person playing it. On the flip side, though, that man turned out to be a liar, a cheat, and a whole bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
That, I believe, is more haunting than the racial stuff for me.
Yeah.
Because that was the expectation when it comes to those type of relationships. And a dad might not be right, but it's the expectation. And that tells me a lot about how I think about race relations in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think of anything less. And very rarely I'm going to see a situation where it's going to be open arms and then the door closes and be like, yo, I like Jamal. Sorry, y'all. It's going to be very rare that I see a situation like that and then off jump, they like Jamal.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, look, we were born in the 80s, 1981, 1982. In my travels in my lifetime and just me being a grown-ass man now, I expect people to be mildly prejudiced at worst. I mean, at best. At best, you're mildly prejudiced. At worst, you're a raging racist. So for me, I'm not taken aback by some of the things that people say and how they implement them because, wildly enough, I expect it. The other reason why I expect it, because I have a daughter who will be 15 this year, and she's already come to me about her just mild travels through life and how she's already experienced prejudice and racism. So why do I not expect a man that was a boomer, that was born in the 50s, or that lived through the 60s and 70s and 80s, not to have some of those views? I'm sorry, white people. And I'm not saying that you have to be racist today, because everybody can change their mind about being a racist. You can't change your mind about being black or white or whatever race you are. Look, the world has even fixed it so you can even change your gender. Because I was going to be like, there was a time I could be like, you can only be a man or a woman. That's also wrong now. However, you can change if you want to be racist or not. You can change if you want to be prejudiced or not. And sorry, white humans of every country around the world, but I do expect y'all to be at least mildly prejudiced towards black people. I expect it. So I don't get all up in arms and I don't go crazy. And I'm not here so quickly to react to every fucking racist thing that white people say. It's just not in my makeup. Because if I did that, I'd have a stroke. I'd have a heart attack. And by the end of this year, if I reacted to every prejudice or racist thing that white people said, that it ain't even saying it to me. That's the other part. Y'all want us to be so angry. We don't even know the dude he talking about. We know him and his daughter. I didn't even take time to Google the guys that she could have been talking about, because that don't concern me. It just doesn't. And I am sorry that, as Orlando just put it, the boomer from Florida, the place where we saw George Zimmerman get his shit off and literally get off. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, my bad.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, because I'm just saying it's just my only issue with this discussion around Hulk Hogan and everything is people got to understand the duality of things. There's a lot of duality when it comes to this Hulk Hogan thing. There's Hulk Hogan, there's Terry Bollea. There's Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, that's Terry Bollea, the businessman. There's Hulk Hogan, the father and of Hogans, and then there's the Bollea family. And it also weirds me out that the same people that still listen to R. Kelly is like, yo, fuck Hulk Hogan because of everything he did. Like, there's duality when it comes to a lot of this shit. Like, I know people are picking and choosing, and I know part of the reason why people are picking and choosing because at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan is a white man. My issue is how do you reconcile with the fact that the character you fell in love with is a piece of shit human? That, I think, is more of a question that people need to answer, and it ain't just about Hogan. What happens when you find out that somebody that you follow for so long is a piece of shit? You fell in love with the character. You fell in love with the musician. You fell in love with the actor. You fell in love with the actress. You don't even call that person by their real name. You call them by the character that they played. You fell in love with that. It turns out that the person behind that character ain't shit. There's more Hulk Hogans than there is anybody else out there in that world. So this is why you should move away from that hero worship and shit and just understand there's the person and there's the character. But you also, to me, can't get mad when somebody wants to applaud the character because that's who they fell in love with the first place.
Right.
It's hard. So I don't think people should disrespect and call people coons and all of that stuff because that's something that everybody's going to have to deal with in one way or the other, whether it is celebrity life or you find out that your mother and your father ain't shit.
Hey, all the cone stuff and all that, that's literally the flip side of Hulk Hogan. And see, and that's my problem. People are going in, celebrating death, talking down on black people because they choosing not to disrespect Hulk Hogan and death. But ain't that like why is that okay? but the thoughts on what he called the dude that was potentially dating his daughter, why was that not okay? Like and this is not me on some MLK Gandhi shit trying to tell y'all, man, only love can drive out hate. It's just like, no, but it's just pointless though. Like it's pointless because again, Hogan wasn't talking to you. And in his rant or whatever, I didn't hear him say, I don't want her dating any niggers. I didn't hear him say that at all. But at the same time, though, regardless of how you feel about dude, like what happened to people dying and moving on, and it's like, oh well, like some of y'all going out of y'all way for a good riddance or a fuck Hulk Hogan or a whatever you're doing. But and it's like why? Because you weren't even concerned with Hulk Hogan last week. You weren't concerned with him 2 hours before you heard he died. Why care now? Why care when he can't respond to you? Why care when it's over? It's literally, thank you, Russ. It's over. He dead. And now he really don't hear you. And he never heard you in the first place. If you add him, he ain't gonna receive it. It's not. So, and I'm not here for black people tearing down black people, especially over what somebody white said. That's the bullshit. That's the real bullshit in all of this for me, is black people tearing down black people over some what white dude said 10 years ago. Where are we doing that at? And why? Help me understand that. Help me understand why I got to go on the attack of another black man or woman out here on the internet or in real life because we differ in opinion about how we should feel about what some white guy said 10 years ago. Help me find the sense in that.
So to sum this up, this part of the episode up, your thoughts about the history and legacy of Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea, better known as Hulk Hogan.
The legacy of Terry Bollea himself will always be conflicted. It will always be controversial because he does have a 40 to 50 year track record of destroying a lot in his path, right? There is something to be said about Terry Bollea and the man that he chose to be when the cameras cut off and when there were no lights around. But then again, the legacy of Hulk Hogan, I think the WWE kind of painted it best on SmackDown, the opening of SmackDown, where it's like, hey, at the end of the day, this is what it is. Hulk Hogan is why we stand here on this stage. He is an icon. He is literally every single seed planted that cultivated into the product that is owned by TKO Endeavor today. So for me, Bang, I break it down like this. Yeah, he was against the unions and unionizing wrestling and making them independent contractors. But now, fast forward, do you think you really want to live in a wrestling world? And this is no disrespect, but do you want to live into a wrestling world where JD McDonough gets John Cena money? And do you want to live in a world, a wrestling world where what was the girl let me just use somebody I know, where Summer Rae would ever get a chance to get a Charlotte Flair contract? Like there's something to be said about being the best in your craft. And maybe in hindsight, Hogan didn't want the union because, hey, if y'all just bet the house on me, there will be more money. There will be more money if you're on my bill versus them both paying us $100,000. So there is that aspect of it. But again, that's business and how you choose to do business. But then there's also the lawsuit. Again, Terry is a fucking liar. And even the original person y'all wanted on the cross, Vince McMahon, was telling him, hey, look, when you go in Arsenio Hall, dude, just tell the truth. There's really no law that says you can't take steroids. Just tell the truth. And Hogan went on Arsenio Hall and fucking lied. But you know where else he lied? He lied when he was protecting Vince McMahon in court. So there's that. And then and of course, again, the thing with his daughter and Brooke Hogan and the guy and the racism, the racially charged rant. Yeah, you shouldn't have to speak about somebody like that in general. And I know matters of the heart and matters with children, they hold different weight. Yes, he could have used better language. Yes, he could have been more diplomatic in his approach. But again, I'll harken back to what I said earlier. I want to know who else was in that room, because y'all all talk like that all the time anyway. And you let that leak and you were quiet. But at the same time, unfortunately, because I have friends that are in interracial relationships and I've heard things that sound worse than this in some cases. And then I also have lived in this world where I watch Black men talk to their daughters the exact same way about men that look like them. So again, it's not on me. I'm not here to fight everybody's battle. And look, I ain't Superman. I'm not one of the Avengers. I'm not none of that. Listen, you're going to be in peril and I'm going to be at the crib inside my wife. That's how it's going to go. So you solve out your own affairs at your own time. And when it affects me, then you get me off the porch. Not before, not after. So for me, Hogan, I think the Hulk Hogan, the character, it may live in a little bit of infamy because there's some wrestling business involved, but it should be respected. You don't have to worship it. You don't have to even like it, but it should be respected. And you know what? And if you don't like Terry Bollea, that's cool too, because you know what? From what I've learned about Terry Bollea, I don't like that motherfucker either.
My final thoughts on the life and legacy of Hulk Hogan is that it is complicated. And the more you don't deny that it's complicated, the easier it makes things. And it's difficult as hell. Terry Bollea ain't shit. But we don't know Terry Bollea. We know Hulk Hogan. We know Terry through Hulk Hogan, but we don't know Terry. His friends do, his family do. Terry Bollea got baptized a couple of months ago, and he reportedly gave his life over to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So if you read the Bible and you celebrate the Bible, you know that when that happens, your sins are forgiven. And as long as you repent, your sins are forgiven. So that apology that he gave backstage, apparently, to black wrestlers, that wasn't really an apology. I can understand them still feeling the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan has never publicly came out and apologized for the things he said on that audio either. So I can understand why others could be mad too, even though you gave your life over to Christ. But even though I said that there's a difference between Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan, here's why I understand every person who gets mad at somebody celebrating Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why I'm not even mad at it. Because when the cameras was off, you didn't see the name Terry Bollea. See, when Lethal Weapon goes off, Riggs goes off, Mel Gibson is still there. So you can like Riggs all you want to, but when that camera goes off, he's no longer Riggs, he's Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson says some horrendous things. When the camera goes off, R. Kelly don't go back to R. Kelly, or he doesn't go back to Robert Sylvester Kelly. He's still R. Kelly. When he pops up on that screen, he's R. Kelly. When Hulk Hogan is off, he still looked at as Hulk Hogan. The name does not change. So he's living his days as Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
But when the door closes, he's Terry Bollea. So all they know is this man. And when they hear that, they don't hear Terry Bollea. They hear Hulk Hogan. So I totally understand why people will feel away. Flip side of it, though, and speaking for me, I understand the duality and the difference between Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan. Because when that door closed, which that door was closed, when he had that conversation on the phone, he was Terry Bollea.
Mm-hmm.
The door closed. So I understand why people will applaud Hulk Hogan's legacy, because all they know is Hulk Hogan and the joy that they gave them. But I also can understand how people feel because they finally saw Terry Bollea because the door was open for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. And there is confliction, there is duality, because you was only privy to the man outside of who you know because somebody cracked it open. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the legacy of the man that gave you WrestleMania 3, the slam of Andre the Giant, the Mega Powers Collide, Ultimate Warrior, Sergeant Slaughter, Sid Justice, Ric Flair battles, Vader battles. You go to bat for that man because you've never seen Terry Bollea or you refuse to even care about it.
Mm-hmm.
The legacy is unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
He's the greatest figure in professional wrestling history. There's no way to understate that. This podcast would not even be happening if Hulk Hogan does not do what he do. The WWE, AEW, TNA is not here without that man. But that's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Terry Bollea is a piece of shit. unless otherwise told differently on how he changed.
Mhm.
But that will not matter to some because we didn't hear it from him because he refused to be Terry Bollea. He refused to keep it Hulk Hogan. And that's why people are upset. Because Terry Bollea, the man, never apologized for what he's done to others. He always kept it as I'm Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Hulk Hogan's legacy is tainted.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hulk Hogan was infiltrated by a man who never was able to properly walk in his own 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that. We can watch Hulk Hogan matches all day long, but because Terry Bollea refused to do the right thing, we look at Hulk Hogan differently.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at anybody that does, because Terry Bollea would not apologize for the things that he did because he'd rather be Hulk Hogan.
Mm.
It is simple as that.
Bars. Nothing.
With that being said, man, 2 hours into this podcast. Hey, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait, no.
Okay,
No.
my bad. Go ahead.
Give us 3 seconds, because that was fire. Hold on. Give us 3 seconds. That was fire. All right, now go ahead.
All right. So we are
Clip
2.5.
Nigga.
Hey,
Clip
yeah,
that,
I'll clip that. I'll clip that. No, I mean, it's real. Like, people got to understand that.
Yeah.
The people that are mad at people that are mad at the fact that they're condemning Hulk Hogan. If Terry Bollea apologized for the shit that he did, people will still care about Hulk Hogan. But he wanted to be Hulk Hogan so bad. That's what you got. You had a fucked up legacy because you wouldn't apologize for the shit that you did as yourself. And all we know is Hogan. Everybody ain't us where we can separate the art from the artist. So you can't be mad at that. But don't call nobody a coon because that's it. That's only, don't call nobody no coon though. Don't call nobody no coon because they fuck with Hogan. Because you got to see that person. You ain't gonna see Hulk Hogan. You got to see that person. And now that person gotta be like, yo, you called me a coon on social media. Now we gotta talk. Oh man, that's just for social media. Well, that's kind of the same shit that your man's is dealing with too. You gotta apologize for the shit that you said and you did.
Yeah.
Now, for everybody that said what's gonna happen with Vince McMahon, it is already happening. It is already happening. He lost the cup. See, this might be another bar before we get to SummerSlam.
For sure.
At the end of the day, though, Hulk Hogan was still Hulk Hogan. He was the person that was in the ring. He was the person that was doing all of that in the beginning. Vince McMahon, however, as the owner always gonna get looked at crazy. So Vince McMahon is paying the price that Hulk Hogan didn't even really get a chance to pay when you think about it. Because that man lost his company. And people look at him as a pariah.
Yeah.
And sorry, y'all, might be fucked up to say, but people would rather be looked at as a racist than a sexual deviant.
For sure. For sure. Because you can't scare the hoes away, no matter who you hate. Can't scare the hoes.
Vince McMahon is looked at as a sexual deviant. Y'all already thought he was a little racist.
Yeah.
He became a sexual deviant and now he loses his shit. That tells you everything too. All these years that people said the man, all these years talking about Vince McMahon is racist. Yeah. Vince McMahon this, Vince McMahon that, Vince McMahon this. He's a racist. He don't give black people opportunity. Yada, 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 yada. He ain't lose his shit because he was racist. He lost it because he's a sexual deviant. That's what's gonna happen. That's why Vince McMahon is in way bit of a pickle because you don't even see him in the public eye no more.
Yep.
And when you see him in the public eye, you look at him as a nasty man.
Yeah. Hey, Gail Kim said years ago, hey, the Vince McMahon family, the McMahon family as a whole is racist against Asians. And she was a woman saying that. And y'all were just like, oh, man, we're gonna watch this WrestleMania though.
Right, we're gonna watch this WrestleMania. So yeah, Russ, he's not in Diddy territory. He's in his own territory. Diddy, he's not in. This is not a Diddy situation. This is worse than that, actually.
Hey, Vince was putting him on payroll. Diddy just hiring him for the night. It's a little different.
With that being said, man, let's go into the SummerSlam card. It is next week, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
wow,
man. Wow.
what was crazy? WrestleMania
2 nights
was 2 nights, and now we got SummerSlam's 2 nights, and now we getting it in 2 weeks. It feels like all of this stuff is moving fast. Does it feel like these storylines had a chance to mesh? Are we moving too fast?
Not really. Would I have liked more detail in some of these stories? Absolutely. I think that is I think that's the big piece of this, right? But then I think there's also, in the world of superstars versus attractions, I just think that maybe we're trying to tell too many stories. And maybe that's why they're not resonating and sticking so much.
Okay.
I think that could be more of the reason than maybe it just not being enough time to build. There's just so many stories being told, and I don't think everybody need a story. Much like, hey, look, man, Rap Caviar has like 100 songs on the playlist, but you only listen to like 12, 15. You know what I mean? Yo.
Yeah.
Who is Sunita?
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh wow! That's had the nerve to be racist when most of his fan base look like us because of most of my white friends here. Because of
really,
and that's the base. Interesting. Shouts out to you, Albert. Let's go into these matches and our predictions. Let's start with day one. What day one is supposed to look like. Well, no, let's go with a match that was announced on Friday. I don't know if it's going to be on a specific day, but we finally get our boys, the Street Profits, on the main roster pay-per-view type. Yeah, we finally get them on the pay-per-view instead of on SummerSlam Friday. A six-team TLC match for the WWE Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam. The Wyatt Six will be defending against Andrade and Ray Phoenix, DIY, Fraxum, the Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits. 6-man TLC. Thoughts and prediction?
Thoughts are, I think they're trying to get rid of the tag team division again. But I'm low key. I want to lean on the Street Profits getting the belts back. But as I look at this roster, or as I look at this match, honestly, man, I'm going to go Andrade and Ray Phoenix. I'm going to go Andrade and Ray Phoenix to win this match. Yeah.
I'm excited to see this match because when they did this shit, the SmackDown, before I think it was Mania, this shit was lit. And the Street Profits, and I think it was the Street Profits, and I forgot who, but it was a great match. I too am gonna go with Andrade and Ray Phoenix winning this match, though. It just feels like they're gonna give them a little bit of a push. So I'm leaning towards the Andrade and Ray Phoenix winning this belt. Let's go to now night one. Let's start with Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn in a old-fashioned grudge match. Who do you have winning this match?
My bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead. One more time on that match again. I'm sorry.
Oh, Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross in this old school rubber match. Match.
Come on. Come on, hey, look, man. No, Michael Cole already put us on. Sami Zayn. I think now I will say this though, because this is America and maybe the energy will be different. Maybe Karrion Kross gives us a better performance. I mean, look, we came in after this. It's not Saudi Mania, but not Crown Jewel. Whatever the Saudi Mania PLE was. We get back from that. Yes. So we get back from that and we like, Karrion Kross, I don't think you did it. And Michael Cole low-key trying to bury him in the midst of the match. So I'm going Sami Zayn, but hopefully this performance for Karrion Kross does turn the corner for him, because I do think he's on to something. It's just the in-ring product didn't match the outside product.
Sami Zayn, we got to figure out what Karrion Kross want to be when he grow up. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, the Cuzzos, versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed.
I mean, this writes itself. Roman Reigns is not going to go from going undefeated for 4 years to losing to Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, or to any team with Bronson Reed on it in 2025. I don't care if leukemia come back on the way to the ramp. He's not losing. So I'm picking the Cuzzos. That's easy.
I am going to shock you and pick the Bronze. Gonna pick the Bronze here. One, I think they need it more. And more so, I think they need to go ahead and start the process of putting Braun Breaker over. Also, I think it shows some tension between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. You got to tease that a little bit. Jey Uso takes the pin. He eats the pin here. But I have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, the Bronze, winning this match. The tag match, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Let me get this out the way and say that the celebrity's going to win this match.
Yeah. Celebrity rules are still in effect. And it's Randy Orton. He teamed up with Randy Orton. Now, if he was teamed up with Drew McIntyre, then I would say he probably would lose. But since he since he teamed up with Randy Orton, no way Randy Orton and Jelly Roll are going to be losing in 2025. No, they ain't having it.
Yeah. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for the Women's Tag Team Championship.
I know what they're trying to. I know what it looks like they're trying to do, but I'm still gonna ride the Raquel wave. I saw that match. Raquel Rodriguez really got herself over. I think what I see here is Raquel winning and Charlotte turning on Alexa, or maybe in the cruel twist of fate to trying to get another pop out of Charlotte, Alexa turns on Charlotte. But I got that team breaking up after SummerSlam, because losing at SummerSlam, losing at SummerSlam is not something that Charlotte Flair is going to go for, and she's gonna get tired.
They are humanizing Charlotte Flair. They are humanizing her, and that's why I believe that they are going to win. I also believe that even though she's not ready to come back, I also believe that what's going to happen is that they're going to lose it because there's going to be a Liv Morgan thing at play. And more or less, why y'all trying to let this girl take over and costing them and not like just flat out turning on them. Women's Championship, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I don't like this matchup at all because I don't want to see Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton in a title match on this event. But it's Jade Cargill's time. Naomi is on the show now. So there's no excuses here. Jade Cargill for the win.
Yeah. Naomi is off the show. She beat Asuka clean. Jade Cargill.
And what should be the main event of night one, because it's for the title, Gunther, CM Punk, World Heavyweight Championship. Now, something to consider. Money in the Bank type of situation. Seth Rollins, doing an appearance on the Rich Eisen show, said that his knee was too swollen to determine through imaging after Saturday night's main event, and then going to Birmingham on that Monday. And the plan is for him to undergo more tests in about a week or two. That is passed. I ain't seen shit.
Mm-hmm.
He noted that he knows his body and believes that he will be out for an extended amount of time. But there were also rumors that this was a storyline to take people off of the smell of what potentially could happen at SummerSlam, which could be CM Punk winning and a cash in, doing a cash in on a bigger moment than what it could have been on Saturday night's main event. So there's a lot of rumors going around this. With that being said, I'm going to believe that this man is hurt. And I'm going to believe that CM Punk is going to finally get this title. CM Punk for the win.
Yeah, me too. Hey, listen, I got CM Punk winning this match, but I absolutely got Seth Rollins cashing in on CM Punk. It ain't got to be SummerSlam. It ain't. He could very well be hurt, but he also got a full year. Well, not almost a full year to cash that title in. And CM Punk is never going to be transitional champion status. So whenever Seth Rollins decides to come back, he's going to cash in on CM Punk. That was my guarantee this week. So there you go. So yeah, CM Punk, yeah, you're going to win this match because one because it's time, and obviously he ain't the most efficient in the injury from the injury report either. So I think this might be the window, the summer of Punk. This could be the last world title run that he gets where he's at decent health or better. So that's the other reason why I'm picking him for this match. But then also because he's absolutely getting cashed in on. Now the only thing that's wild to me is that Bronson Reed has been carrying around the briefcase, and it's with Heyman and Braun Breaker. That's the only glitch in the matrix for me. But I do got CM Punk winning this match.
All right, let's head into the matches slated for potentially for night 2. Let's start with the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. I got Lyra. I know we be shitting on Bird Lady, but but I think that she's actually improved greatly because of this feud, and now they need her that she's at where they need her to be to move along this Intercontinental Championship.
You know what? I think this was supposed to do all of that, right? Bayley and Becky trying to be for Lyra what maybe they felt Charlotte Flair, dare I say, wasn't for them, or what other women weren't for them. So I do look at this match, and I mean, to be real, there's no reason for Lyra to not win it because Becky Lynch as the Intercontinental Champion, unfortunately, it don't mean nothing. So I'm actually going to go Lyra here as well.
Okay. Let's go with the Intercontinental Championship. Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles, who made an appearance in TNA for the first time in years.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got?
Dirty Dom, man. Come on, man. He's on pace to be superstar of the year at this point. Give him a slam.
Yeah, I got Dominic Mysterio in this too, and his biggest win since becoming the Intercontinental Champion, because I believe that AJ Styles is destined to hold the TNA World Championship one more time, and I believe that Trick Williams versus AJ Styles is more likely to happen this year, and reportedly is a on the low retirement joint as well, because reportedly he signed for one more year, and then that's it. So we'll see, but this seems like an on the low retirement tour for AJ Styles, so we're gonna get a lot of stuff out the way. I also believe that the reason why Dom is gonna win is not necessarily by pin, but Dom is really making them other Mexican wrestlers pissed off, and there's going to be a disqualification that he wins in, and not necessarily a pin. Don't see him pinning AJ Styles, but I might be wrong here. United States Championship in a steel cage.
Yes.
Solo Jacob Fatu. Man, I did not expect this match to go in this direction.
Yeah.
But a steel cage. Thoughts and who you got?
Man, two Samoans in the steel cage. I think we're in for an epic night. let's just start there. But I absolutely got Solo Sikoa still winning this match. Because again, I don't think the US title does Jacob Fatu any favors. And that's not to say that he's not worthy of being the US champ. It's not saying that he's not championship material, but just something about Jacob Fatu with the US title, it just don't hit for me. So I'm going to go Solo to win this match. Even if he got, the Belly 3 gang behind him, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Got the Tubi movie all-star villains, whatever they call themselves. Let them do that. But I got Solo winning this match and retaining the belt.
Man, I'm gonna go with Jacob Fatu. I think they're not gonna push the button on him yet. But in the cage match, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna change it to Solo. I believe you're gonna see Spot of the Night here.
Okay.
You're gonna see a splash off the top rope, like a moonsault. This is moonsault off of the top rope area for Jacob Fatu.
Wait, you mean moonsault off the cage?
Yeah, excuse me, off the cage. My bad. This is moonsault off the cage territory for Jacob Fatu, and Solo. This is match of the night possibility here. This match is, if all of the rumors are true, which I ain't gonna lie, I don't believe that the WWE is gonna put Jacob Fatu in a huge position because of his past. Sorry, y'all. That's the only reason why. With that being said, nah, man, I think this is match of the weekend. And I think this is Jacob Fatu's time to shine, and it puts the United States title in the prime spot. But Solo is going to win because it's going to put the title in the prime spot, and maybe we do see Jacob Fatu start to put himself in the main card position.
Okay.
But Solo with the win. Jacob Fatu, though, having that Jimmy Snuka moment. Let's go with the women's title, triple threat, Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. Who you got?
Come on now, Black Champ surviving all summer long. You dig what I'm saying? Obviously picking Naomi. Always love picking Naomi for every PLE. This will be no different. So yeah. However, though, I do think also this does lead to the Rhea Ripley confirmed heel turn, though. I absolutely believe that.
I have Naomi winning this after Rhea Ripley hits Io with the finisher and Naomi coming in and pushing her out. And then from there, I do feel like Rhea Ripley is going to snap. So I have Naomi winning here. And the main event for the weekend, John Cena, Cody Rhodes. Who wins? Do we see a double turn? Where are we going here?
I'm on the fence here. I won't lie. Because my pick is John Cena. Okay. But what do I think is best for business? Is for Cody to turn the energy to super ultra heel mode in this match, win this belt, and they do a double turn, and John Cena just relishes in the fact that he's a 17-time world champion, but now he closes out the year being the guy that everybody loved John Cena for being the last 20 years. Or well, I should say more like 15, but that's what I see happening. I think, but my pick is John Cena, but I do think Cody winning in a double turn and John Cena getting the rest of third and fourth quarter just to be John Cena is probably what's the best thing to do.
I have the double turn happening. Here's what I would do. Let me tell you what I would do first. There would be a double turn. Cody would win. Cody would wrestle John Cena on John Cena's retirement match. John Cena wins. And even though he was a heel when he said it, he'd be a face when he becomes the last real world champion.
Mm-hmm.
As he said. I also will 1992 this shit and put the title on the line at the Royal Rumble. Because now we ain't got no champion. John Cena has retired. Now we got to do it. And we'll see who wins it there. Mm. But it gives you a full reset. That's what I would do. They ain't going to do that shit, though. But I do believe... No, I ain't going to do that shit. Which I believe that John Cena is going to win the match. Then John Cena wins this match. And that's what leads to Cody snapping. Because I can't beat this man. So then after the match, he destroys John Cena. That's what's going to make us go, okay, damn. He just did that to John Cena. And then he gets booed, and then he answers for what he did either on Monday or Friday. But John Cena will win. Then Cody Rhodes will destroy him. And then we will see Cody Rhodes, John Cena in the flip. John Cena, Cody Rhodes is not over for a long shot. Mm. So we'll see what happens next week as we have SummerSlam happening in New York. Still supposed to be hosted by Cardi B. Do you see Cardi B get in the ring in some type of capacity? Like, does she help Naomi win the belt and they do like the split thing? Would we like to see that thing?
Yeah, I would. I ain't gonna lie. I've been catching up on the stories about Cardi B. I still want to see it.
Okay.
I want to see the money, how the money ain't changed the heart.
Do she do a split, or do she do like the Yokozuna Banzai drop? Like, how do they spotlight Cardi B's ass at WrestleMania?
Hey,
at SummerSlam.
And that's why I think we're more prone to see her during Jade's match than Naomi's. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Wheel out Cardi and have all the cheeks that we can out at one time during the Naomi show, because Rhea ain't slacking either. You know what I'm saying? But she's not lacking it at all. But I do say, because this is more AEW-ish, right? This is kind of Jade's wheelhouse. Hey, bring out the hot rap chick or the legendary rap chick, and she come out with Jade Cargill or the interactions with Jade Cargill. So I do kind of see it leaning more that way. And I think, not for nothing, you need a little more energy, a little more pomp and circumstance around Tiffany versus Jade than you need around anything Naomi is doing, especially with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are the other dance partners in there. So I think that where one situation might be overload, I think the other situation creates for a really good moment.
So your thought is that Cardi B will cost Tiffany Stratton the world title?
Costing her? You know what? Maybe. maybe, but see, the thing is, I think, dare I say, and because my opinion don't matter this greatly, I think face Jade is really winning right now.
Mm.
And if nothing else, Jade beating her clean, Tiffany getting offended by it, and then Cardi B coming out to get her moments like, yo, you a hater, you a loser ass bitch. And then they get into it and she get knocked on her ass by Cardi B. I think that's moment enough. I don't think anything extra needs to be done because you don't want to give Cardi B too much mic time,
Right.
respectfully. Like, just have her come here and do something. And then that be that.
Okay. All right. It's towards the end of the show, and we know towards the end of the show, we have a bit of a segment called Do We Care? We did not record last week, so we're gonna mix some of the things we was gonna talk about last week into this episode right here. So let's start with Goldberg. Apparently, Goldberg was pissed about his retirement match. He had said, let's just say I'm pissed at the way it went out. I put so much into it, and I don't feel as though the effort was reciprocated to put a stamp on what I accomplished. Goldberg was reportedly offered a legitimate title of retirement, run by AEW, but he eventually signed this to do this with the WWE. Your thoughts on Goldberg's words about his retirement match, because we weren't able to talk about it last week.
So what? And Goldberg, you are not The Undertaker. You're not Bret Hart. And you know this. You're not Triple H. You're not Shawn Michaels. You're not Steve Austin. You're not John Cena. You're not Hulk Hogan. So what? You got way more time than I think you actually needed. You just don't know what to do with your time because you weren't the greatest wrestler.
Who you thought you was, Kobe? That's what I think about the Goldberg thing. Like, who you thought you was? Like, the crazy thing is he was complaining about NBC cutting off his speech, but over 10 million people had saw it on YouTube. They saw your speech, fam. Who you thought you was, Kobe? You thought you was going to get some long ass joint? Nah, fam. Bye. Thank you. God bless. Good night. You're not a WWE creation. You are a WCW creation. And as Camp said earlier, Vince McMahon will take a WCW thing and run it through the ground to show you, hey, I run this shit.
Yeah.
So you lucky if Vince was here, you wouldn't have got this shit.
Yeah, at all. You would have got a montage, a 3-minute montage with your next ending it.
Yeah, so at Goldberg, I know you feel a way about it, and you say that you will talk more about this when you can, but I don't give a fuck, and I don't think most people give a fuck either. We don't care, all right? You had a dope match with Gunther. It was way better than what we expected to be, and you thank the crowd, move on, go do some appearances and stuff. But who you thought you was, Kobe? Who you thought you was, Bret Hart? Hey, congratulations, move on. Yeah. Has Damian Priest lost his momentum? We talked about on this show after his feud with Damian Priest that Damian Priest should be in the world title category. He should be in the main title picture. Maybe he should even have a match with John Cena, as John Cena's in heel mode John Cena. But now he's fighting for Ron Killings, and he's in a feud with Aleister Black while Drew McIntyre is in a prime WrestleMania spot with Logan Paul going up against Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Similar situation as what Damian Priest was when he was wrestling with and against Bad Bunny. So my question to you, has Damian Priest lost all his momentum that he had with Drew McIntyre?
I won't say all his momentum, but it doesn't look good. And not only does it, rest in Priest is crazy. But I will say this doesn't look good, and I hope this is because his contract is up and there's negotiations needed.
Yeah.
On this show, I sat and said, if you could pick a career in this era, who would you want? Whose would you want? And Damian Priest has been at the top of that list or near the top of that list for a few years now.
Oh, man, I think he's lost all that momentum that he had, because I can't even see him going up for the United States Championship. If he's nothing against Aleister Black, but Aleister Black gets more out of this feud than Damian Priest do.
For sure.
So,
absolutely.
So yeah, that's
on the
why
comeback
I'm like,
too.
Yeah, last but not least, AJ Styles returned to TNA. On TNA Slammiversary. He came in to tell the world that Leon Slater is the future of the X division. He didn't take a bump. He didn't punch nobody. He didn't threat Trick Williams. In fact, Trick Williams was in a bright spot being chokeslammed by The Undertaker on NXT. So, like, if anything, do you care about AJ Styles' small return to TNA? And do you feel like there's, like, what do they need to do with AJ Styles? I guess is the best joint. What is he Kobe? Is he Kobe?
For TNA especially. AJ, I mean, he's already in his mid to late 40s now. Obviously still has a knowledge, so it's not that he's totally useless. It's just that I think AJ Styles has reached all the pinnacles that he could reach in every other division and every other federation or organization. It's just a new day in the game, man. And even though he might have got to WWE late, depending on how you look at his career, I think, man, he's the one that kicked off the long title reigns for real in this era. I know CM Punk had his moment with over a year, but the 371 days by AJ Styles, I think, was a really big turning point of just champions as they move forward for the last 10 years now. So I think AJ Styles is a national treasure. I think AJ Styles is who Goldberg thinks he is. And whatever AJ want to do, they should let him do it.
Yeah, man. Well, I think I would have loved for them to do more. And that might happen. It was just good to see AJ Styles in the place that he built.
Facts.
How simple as that.
Facts. Hey, AJ closing the door in TNA, that's great. I just like I like it for NBA players going back to their original teams. I like when wrestlers can get that time as well.
Well, look, y'all, it's been a while since we did an extra long ass episode, but when somebody like Hulk Hogan dies, you gotta go ahead and have a conversation about it. I hope everybody understands the duality of this situation and respect people's feelings on the matter. Like, that's really it for me. So, man.
Yeah, man.
Close us out, Ken.
No doubt. And to echo all of your sentiments, man, hey, listen, man, what I want to say just on some human shit right now, dog, like, mind the business that pays you. And just know that no matter how you feel about a person, nobody is loved or hated by everybody. And don't be so quick to ambulance chase the hate, because it don't get you nowhere. And I would say that if it was Denzel Washington and I saw somebody going in on him, or I'm going to feel the same way when the inevitable happens for R. Kelly. I'm going to, like, you know what I'm saying? My energy ain't changing because I'm a wrestling fan and I grew up listening to Hulk Hogan. I don't own one R. Kelly CD. And I don't want to see y'all down in that man in death. I just don't want to see it. I wouldn't with it with the Kevin Samuels thing. I don't. So that's just how I give it up. Hey, and you know what? At the end of the day, do you though? Give it up the way you give it up. Because, hey, it ain't got nothing to do with me. But when it does, you bring the rolling papers. Now keep the smoke. But we thank y'all.
Yeah.
We thank y'all for checking out this episode of the First Black Champ podcast. We went extra long. You know what I'm saying? That's what she said. You dig? And we appreciate each and every one of you being a part of this program. Shout out to the new people on the live stream today. Shout out to the conversation. I think it was great all the way around. A lot of great insight, a lot of great information, a lot of great conversation amongst real wrestling fans. And that's what we are here to do. So, man, we appreciate y'all. Keep it up, because you are what make the FBC POD community what it is every single day. And always know that if you ever want to talk about wrestling in an unconventional way, you do so by checking out the First Black Champ podcast. And we do not love Johnny Wrestling, brother.